Out of the blocks and off and running on a Thursday morning edition of RKW. And all of a sudden, fall has broken out in Middle Tennessee. Would you look at that? With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, our producer. My name is Will Bowling. We are brewed up by 8th and Roasted. We have got a jam-packed Thursday morning show coming up for you on this beautiful morning in Nashville, Tennessee. And, of course, if you listen to this show, you know it's always a beautiful morning when you wake up in Music City, USA. Coach Mac in 20 minutes. The Thursday 3 in hour number 2. Ramon Foster has put 2 weeks together that are not losing records. We call that a streak. It has happened before. Jim Nagy, the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl at 8:25. Andy Staples of On 3. And you at 615-737-1045. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Loving life.
We are.
We can't say like, oh, it's going to be a nice day or, oh, it looks cloudy because it's just dark out.
It's just dark out. That's very true.
Supposed to be in the 70s today, though.
It is.
Are you serious?
72. Yeah.
All right.
51 right now in America's Music City.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
It's one of those like, okay, you suffer in the mornings, but live life in the afternoons. That's
Good point.
But living life in the afternoon only lasts till 2 o'clock because it's getting dark after that, okay?
That's so weird how quick it gets dark. You know?
I saw somebody post. It was like it's only two times whenever you fall back on time. It's waking up in the morning dark, and then it's getting dark at 2 o'clock. I was like, you know what? That's about right. That is about right. I see why some of y'all are mad about that. Okay, I actually enjoy daylight saving time, but that's just me.
Psychopath.
The outlier.
I got attacked this morning.
By a what?
By a what is exactly right. I was taking the trash out before I headed off to work because that's one of my duties. Cheyenne does not like the icky things.
Sounds right.
She doesn't like washing dishes, doesn't like taking out the trash, doesn't like any of that stuff. So I was
like you are a housemaid.
Well, I mean, no, she does it. She does the laundry. She does the cleaning.
Detailed cleaning.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the guy that wipes off the counter twice, and then she tells me all the spots I miss. But I'm taking the trash out this morning, and I can hear like a little rustling, but I'm halfway there. I'm not all the way home yet.
Yeah.
And I throw the trash in the bin, and I look, and beside me is a wet possum.
Oh.
He is just soaking wet, and he is showing me his teeth. He is so proud of these teeth. And if you ever mess with a possum, they are, it's like the old adage. They are more scared of you than you are of them. So I just go, ah, ah, ah.
You did not.
And I'm like hollering at him, and he just kind of lays over, chills, and I gave it a swift walk to my car and got in that bad boy.
So the teeth are fake. He's really bluffing you with the teeth.
Oh yeah, he's just showing me like, hey, look what I've got. Don't come over here. I'll bite you with these things.
But then
he's
chilled.
Oh no, he played possum. He didn't want nothing. As soon as he saw this big boy over here, he was like, hold on now. I thought that was a woman with the long hair, but dadgummit.
He was no longer the alpha of the situation.
That's a strapping young boy. I better not mess with him. I think I'll take a fake nap right here.
Man, it's funny you say that. So I seen him once before, and I was like, whatever, it's just a one-off. He's crossing in the backyard. A possum.
Okay.
In the backyard. I saw it once. I was like, it's just cruising through. 2 nights ago, I let Zeus out, and I usually leave like the back door open. You know what I'm saying? Like, Zeus, let me know when you're ready to come back in. Just walk up to the other door. Man, I let him out. He goes out, and I usually flash the flashlight in the backyard just to see if there's any deer back there.
Yeah.
You know, coyotes. I've seen a fox back there. I was like, let me see what's back there. I saw a possum. Same thing. I flashed a flashlight only on it, and it just scurried on back to his burrow right after that. I did say note to self. We will not be leaving the back door open at all anymore. The last thing I need in the corner of my back porch where we have a good time is a friggin' possum. Because I heard they stank, they are wet, and they
roll over?
And they roll over.
Oh, it sounds like a Titans left tackle.
Oh.
Dang, Kayla.
We were having a nice time. 6:05 in the morning.
I ain't even got my
Nobody needed to talk about Andre Dillard this morning.
Hey, I wasn't ready
You were setting it up.
I was.
Oh, we were having a nice time.
Stank, wet, and rolling over. That's what we call left tackles.
Bert was Vita Vea in this situation. Coach Mac has made his way into the room.
Made it in
I
here,
told
man.
Mac Dog he's got a surprise in the
Y'all go
refrigerator.
Dang, you got a surprise
Coach
for
Mac, it's like
attack.
even you get like that beer crack when you open it.
Hey, man.
It's the cold brew.
interrupt this radio program.
Anytime, Coach.
Well, we got it figured out now, Coach Mac. God.
We were talking about
dang.
possums, Coach.
Yeah, we were talking about possums. That's all, Coach Mac.
Don't mind us.
I know you got a West
They have
Texas
possum.
story.
They have possum in Texas too, but they have shields on their back.
They're called
Those are
armadillos.
dangerous. Now
Yeah,
that's
right.
a left tackle right there.
Yeah, now that's a.
The Titans are looking for.
This girl is on fire, man. What
If,
the hell?
that's a good Twitter question. What if the Titans' left tackle was an animal? What would he be?
Oh, don't get that.
That's
son.
really
Roadkill?
good.
Yay! Now Will's getting
Oh,
it.
I
dang.
can't outdo you guys. I'm just here for the laughs now, okay? Y'all got it. I was not ready for this morning, man. Dang, I was this close to saying a bad word because Kayla hit me so fast with the left tackle thing. Will double back with it. I'm like, are we on the back porch or something?
I think so.
Kayla and I
the
are D
heck?
Wade and LeBron throwing the alley oop at
Exactly.
6:05 in the morning.
I'm here for my ring.
Okay, Chris Bosh.
I'm here for my ring.
James,
Yeah. All right,
Ramona's
James
James
Harden.
Jones sitting in the corner waiting to shoot threes.
Oh, I'm your
That's all you're here for,
I'm your
is shoot
Donis
threes.
Haslam. Yeah, I'm your Donis Haslam right now.
Yeah, but you're not 80.
Yeah.
True.
Everybody is catching strays today.
Yeah, we got the crowbar out and it's cocked back this morning.
Thursday Junior.
Golly, man.
Friday, Junior.
Friday,
Oh,
Junior.
Friday. What am I saying?
Come on, Kayla. Bring it in, man. You
I
on a
also
roll.
I've now started season 2 of The Sopranos. So again, like
Oh gosh, you're not having any sleep.
made my
moving.
brain. Well, no, I'm getting good sleep, but like I just think about whacking people, just in my dreams.
Whacking a mole.
Can we save that? Please tell me we can save Will
going on
saying
there.
that. That was
Because we
good.
can, doesn't mean we should say that.
That's very true. Dude, that show's so good, is it not?
Oh,
Is the hype real?
it's unbelievable. I also didn't realize when I watched Entourage how
I
big of a
love
deal it was that Turtle dated Jamie Lynn Ziegler
Oh,
in the
yeah.
show. Now I understand that was like, I don't know, that was kind of like Lindsay Lohan before Lindsay Lohan. That's probably not a good comparison because Lindsay Lohan was in
Rehab.
Disney Channel. Let me finish. It's probably more like Sophie Turner before Sophie Turner.
Sophie Turner.
Like
Yeah.
not not British Sophie Turner because she was on an HBO show.
Yeah. She
So-
was always very beloved. I feel like.
Oh no, yeah,
You
like
know?
that's what I mean. Is
Yeah.
I didn't realize how popular, like how big of a deal that was. That Turtle
Yeah.
and Entourage dated
Turtle,
Jamie Lynn Ziegler.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
I loved that couple.
Turtle actually.
Meadow,
He
come here, Meadow.
he turned himself into something, man. He started
Uh-huh.
off as this pudgy actor. I'm talking about the actual dude.
Turtle.
Turtle,
Yeah.
yeah, and Jess was
Well,
just
he's had a
like the-
Hummer.
he seemed like he was the hanger-on of Entourage,
Yeah.
and next thing you know, he became like the dude. Like,
he produces, doesn't he? too?
yeah,
Like,
he
does.
does.
everything.
He was in other stuff I've seen too, man. Shout out to him, dude. That was beautiful. Him and Michael B. Jordan.
Yep. Oh,
Those
yeah.
are the two.
Don't
You
get me
watched The
started on that
Wire.
one.
If you watch The Wire,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know him and The Wire was just like, man, who is this, man?
Gets killed very quickly.
He actually
I
is
think
in
it's like
Friday.
season 4, maybe, or 2.
Oh, I think it's
2 or
season
3.
1.
Before
Was
that,
it
he's
that
on
early?
Friday Night Lights.
Oh,
He's
he was-
on the final.
The Wire was
seasons.
before that.
Oh, it
yeah,
was?
The
The
Wire
Wire
was
was
way
way
before.
before.
So he was
a
like
child.
a baby.
He was
Yeah.
like probably like 12.
Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Oh yeah.
If you
Dang.
see him in that state, you're gonna be like, this dude was GQ's sexiest man alive. Like
Uh-huh.
he's like, it takes
Him and
you
Jason
back.
Kelsey.
Yeah, well, yeah, now.
Sometimes you get better with age.
I mean, he honestly
You
did
know?
get better with
Yeah.
age. His acting and all.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Chris on the phone line, 615-737-1045. What's up, Chris?
What's up, Chris?
Hey, man, what's going on? Y'all were talking a few minutes ago about Titans left tackles, and I think it was Bert maybe said if the Titans left tackle was an animal, what
Yeah.
would it be?
Mm-hmm.
First thing came to my mind was Bigfoot. We hadn't proven they exist yet.
Hey, somebody get that man a bonus.
Chris, good work.
Get that man a bonus, man.
That's outstanding.
That is hilarious.
That was good.
Chris
Oh,
off the
that
top
was
rope
good.
this morning.
Yeah. You know
Mm-hmm.
what's crazy? You know, there was a Bigfoot sighting, maybe a month ago in Denver. People on the train, it was set up. We've deaded that type of stuff for so quick nowadays, man. With technology, like, yeah, whatever. Or the fact that we don't believe anything on the internet anymore.
Well, that's what scares me, like an AI Bigfoot walking around somewhere. You know?
Nothing tormented me more as a kid than wondering if Bigfoot was real
Sure.
when I went outside at nighttime and the Loch Ness
Loch Ness
Monster.
Monster.
Yeah, the Loch Ness Nessie I'm talking about. I bought books because of Nessie, okay, for the book fair.
We'll just go up to that lake in Georgia. Then you can have it all happen
Lake
in one
Lanier,
place.
yeah, we ain't gonna play with that one, man. I will not ever be on Lake Lanier. But I'm here to tell you this:
It's fine. It's not haunted.
Nessie.
Will.
Things aren't
me.
haunted.
Oh,
It's not real.
Well, Nessie's still out there. We haven't found
not
Nessie.
real.
Nessie's in Lake Lanier, I think.
Apparently,
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan was in The Sopranos too.
What?
Yeah, I think he makes an appearance in
Yeah,
there.
1999.
Dang.
He was in season 1.
You missed him? I missed him?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, we missed him then.
Then he was in The Wire in 2002.
Okay.
Cosby Show.
Yep.
Which got canceled. 1999, and then Hardball.
Where's Friday Night
2001.
Lights?
Yeah.
So Michael
way later than that.
Michael B. Jordan was in
Wow.
the scene where
2009 to 11.
child Tony is chased down the street.
Oh,
So
yep.
he was a child.
Yep. There you go.
Child Tony. Wow. Look at Bird.
The brain on Bert.
Look at the brain
I just
on
Googled it.
Bird.
I'm really see because I'm totally unwilling to Google like, oh, what else was this person in? Because I don't
Yeah.
want to see if that person dies at any point of the show.
Very
Yeah.
smart.
I have made that mistake so many times of like, well, who is this actor? Like, who else? Well, what else have they been in? And then it's like season 1 to season 3, and I'm like on season 3. Well, that's not fun.
Yep.
Sometimes it can kind of mix you up though, because you see it's like, oh, they're not in season 4, but they're in season 5 through 7. But then 5 through 7 is just flashbacks.
Yeah.
Oh, so they technically have to
I know.
put it.
Yeah. So right now I'm watching Suits. Meghan Markle and Mike just got married and went to Seattle.
Yes.
Come to find out, she essentially got written out of the role because she started when she got engaged to
With
the royal
Prince Harry.
family. Meghan Markle. She couldn't
Yep.
be in those shows anymore.
You're
so
right.
I was like, where's Mike and Rachel? Oh, she got engaged to the royal court at that point, right?
It's like, skittle out.
yeah, yeah.
She chose to. I mean, she knew she had to pick one or the other, and I bet that was hard giving up something that seemed that she really liked to
The
act.
show is still good.
Yeah.
I absolutely love this show. I'm on the last season of it.
Coming up this morning, Coach Mack joins us in about 10 minutes. Titans Radio's head coach kicks off your Thursday morning. We've got the Thursday 3 in hour 2. Jim Nagy of the Senior Bowl at 8:25, and Andy Staples of On 3 talks a ton of college football with us. And there is a lot to get to at 9:20 this morning. Plus Q's and K's as the show continues as well throughout the morning as we hear from a Titans locker room that's got a new member of it.
Yeah.
In a new offensive lineman. We'll talk to Coach Mack about that. Talk to him about what Trevor Lawrence has been able to do this year and why he's not been quite as dominant as he was last season. With Titans Radio's head coach coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster Hiller, plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical, y'all. Right now, Hiller, they're giving away cash for the holidays with select purchases. Hiller wants to make sure every child experiences the joy of Christmas this year. They're donating $50 in toys to Toys R Us with every tankless water heater purchase and giving away a $250 Visa gift card with each unit also. You can also get a $500 Visa gift card when you buy a select HVAC system, or get a $500 Visa gift card with the purchase of a new whole home generator. Yes, get those generators, good people. And these purchases all have great financing option with low monthly payments. These deals are only available until the end of the year, so schedule today at happyhiller.com.
RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. We've got the full crew in studio. And Thursday mornings at 6:20, we are joined by Titans Radio's head coach, presented by Two Rivers Ford, Middle Tennessee's most trusted local Ford dealership for 40 years. Coach Mack, what's going on?
I'll tell you what's going on is Kayla brought me the cold brew from 8th and Roast. Solid. Look, I'm a cold brew aficionado.
There you are.
Is that a word?
Yeah.
Absolutely it is.
I'm a guru of this stuff, and this is good.
I'm glad you got it. Travis, my husband, actually purchased those for you. He has them at his store.
Well,
So
tell Travis,
he said, hook
yeah,
Coach Mack up because he listens,
this is really good stuff.
right?
So, Travis, thank you very much. I couldn't be more happy that you have the job you have.
Dishing up some cold brew.
This is outstanding. It's really good.
It looks good.
It's very good.
I love it, Matt.
Coach Mack, Titans and Jags this weekend. You'll be a broadcast guru for that one as well. What stands out first when you look at this Jacksonville team?
Well, I mean, they've got good players, pretty much on both sides of the ball because, look, this is the yin and the yang of the National Football League. If you're not good for a long time, which they have not been, you do get high picks in every round of the draft, and they've made them work, and then they put it all together when they got Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence became a franchise quarterback when they got a legitimate NFL head coach down there.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of a sudden now what you're looking at is a collection of athletes that now are playing good together as a team. And when you start just, going through the roster, as far as to what they have, they've got explosive. They've got a solid offensive line. They've got explosive pieces at every part of the offense. And when you have a franchise quarterback that can distribute the football, and he distributes the football extremely, extremely well, then on the other side of it, I mean, they've got a good front. They've got guys up front that Josh Allen's in his contract year, and he's already got 9.5 sacks. But the disruption of up front, when you start looking at these guys, I mean, they give defenses, a lot of problems. And then both of the linebackers, Lloyd and Aluakon, are tackling machines. And so they have what you have when you have a good football team. They've got good pieces, every places, and they're playing together, very, very well. I mean, that's what I see. I see a legitimate, 6-3 football team that's, lost. Now, every now and then in the National Football League, regardless of how good you are, it's happened to me during my 3-decade coaching career, you're really good. You can get boat raced every now and then just because the National Football League is what it is. But when you look at at what happened to them last week, I mean, they turned the ball over, give up some sacks.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they're on the back end of it with the last game, but don't get that in your mind that's this football team. This football team's a good team.
Well, and it's impressive too when you look at that game against San Francisco. They pressured Brock Purdy on 53.6% of his pass attempts. He just made a lot of throws under pressure.
Well, and then you turn the ball over. I mean,
right.
The turnovers in this league, turnovers and explosives given up in this league are huge, huge, huge. And then you go to third down possessions, and then you go to red zone conversions to touchdowns. That's what usually will flip a ball game. The national, because everybody has players and has capability of doing some things, but people that get up on the other people in those categories. Yeah, and you can be pressured a lot, but if you beat the pressure, well then, and it takes 2 or 3 times to do that. But they got after Purdy, but as you said, and to your point, Will, Purdy made plays. When they got after, they made plays. They had separation. They made plays, and then I think we're not talking about the Niners now, so I don't care about them. But
sure,
but Ayuk went off, and then of course they got. They got good people.
Mac, when you look at pressure, you mentioned pressure a couple times right there. It seems like under pressure, Trevor Lawrence is going to cough that ball up, Coach Mac. How do you coach this week knowing that he's got 7 fumbles on the season?
Well, first of all, you got to get to him.
Oh, yeah.
You got to get to him. And then the thing you can't do is give this guy open spaces, especially because he can move right or left to throw the football, and he can eat up stripes. But what you got, you're going to have to cage rush this guy. You're going to have to cage rush him, and you can't. I mean, I just did some things with Mike Keith, for all Titans All Access on that telestrator board. You give him an A or a B gap, he's gone. and he's going to get up and move, and then he can hit the sideline. So you're going to have to be very, very disciplined in your rush. You're going to have to cage rush this guy, and you can't, your edge rushers can't get up and beyond the launch point way wide to make holes. And then if you're going after him with 4, well, then somebody's got to be able to cover those 2 gaps up there, depending on who's in the A and the B gap. And if you're playing zone defense, you've got to have your eyes back there because you need numbers if this guy starts moving.
And the other thing, too, with him being a little bit of a runner, Trevor Lawrence, that is, Coach Mack, where do you play that fine line and just, making sure you can put some hands on him? And because he's not a real big slider, he's going to run to the edge of the boundary and try to get out of bounds. You just try to tap him before he get out, because that's definitely one of the mainstays that you have to have as a defense is you want to get to the quarterback any way you can. If he's a runner, I need to see him.
Yeah, you do that, but you got to be careful because you cannot. I mean, you can't afford to give them any free yardage. I mean, you just can't. And this game is going to be chippy enough anyway, because these two franchises have always had a little bit of sandpaper between them. Through and regardless of who's there, that's just the way it is. And I've been involved in it as a coach. And now, since I've been broadcasting, you get the same vibe every time you go down there to Duval County when you go into that stadium to play. It's a friction game, between these two franchises.
Other skill positions there. Obviously, we're seeing what Travis Etienne has been doing. That has helped the offense. And then I wanted to ask you about the tight end Evan Ingram, who, in that first game against Jacksonville last year with the Titans, he burned them. This is a guy, yards after catch are a big thing, and when Vrabel was asked about that, that's the first thing he said yesterday.
Well, he's 100% right. I mean, this guy is 300 yards after catch. He's a matchup issue if you choose to play man to man. And then, as you said, what did he have that last time? 11 catches. I mean, the guy. And here's the other thing too. The quarterback now is sophisticated enough in this league to be able to find the matchups he wants. And he's got a little bit of an advantage, because of his height. He can see over the rush, through the rush, and he can discern what the matchups are downfield. And Evan Ingram has come into his own in Jacksonville too, because there was early in his career when just with another franchise he was an athletic dude. He wasn't that dude though.
Right.
Now he's that dude, and I think getting Kirk in there helped, because now you got to worry about him. And the other thing is, guys, is that if you really start dissecting their offense, their screen game is really good. Their screen game is really, really good. And not only with Kirk, but with Etienne, in a lot of different ways. I'm talking about, the flash screens outside, screens out of the backfield, motion with screens coming, to the opposite side of the motion. So it's going to keep your defense on point.
We were speaking to Will Levis yesterday, several questions about when he gets in that red zone. Obviously, everything shrinks, and that's been a difficult place for the Titans, but other teams as well. I think red zone defense has been good this year for the most part. So how does he look at that? And I guess when he sees the field shrink like that, how do you kind of operate moving forward, since you got to continue to execute down there? It's just not something that's happened.
Well, he's got to throw it. He's got to continue to throw it. Now, look, there's some instances down there. I can think of 3 in particular where he's thrown it in there and they've dropped it. You got to catch a ball. I mean, you got to catch a ball. It's going to be tight quarters. You're going to have tight quarters. You're going to get hit. If you're throwing it, especially if you're throwing it, in the middle of the field. I mean, you're going to get hit down there. So as a receiver, you've got to know that it's happening really fast, and you got to be able to catch it. The other thing that has to happen is down there when you're trying to run the ball down there, and if you do it, you're going to have to do it by force, because the two safeties, especially when you get to the low red zone, which is the +6 to the goal line. You've got a 9-man front, because the safeties are involved in the run game down there. And people in the league, if you really start looking at what's going on, and I know that red zone production throughout the league is it's down a little bit. And when you look at it, people are playing a lot of drop 8 down there. They're spreading out. They're dropping 8 people. They're spider dropping. They're taking a lineman and bringing him out in the middle, so that there's not a lot of space down there, and just making the quarterback and the receivers make really good reads against a real tight zone coverage, and then making the throws. And so the thing you've got to do, but when you bless you, the thing you've got to do is when you get down there. I mean, you've got to know that the longer you're down there and the more that you don't get in, the more pressure goes on you than it is on the defense. If you get down there with 4 downs, then the pressure's on the defense. And most of the time, if you're successful in the red zone, especially the low red zone, you got to crack them early. Because if you don't, well, then, the defensive coaches, I've just done it for years, start to figure out, okay, here's what they're going to do. So I'm going to try not, to let them in. But you start looking at the number of times the Titans have been down there lately and the few touchdowns that have been made, you just got to go start calculating in your head, make some of those touchdowns, and some of these games are flipped.
Absolutely.
Coach Mack, the Jags committed 8 turnovers during their 5-game winning streak, but the defense created 12 during that span. What are they doing to create so many turnovers specifically?
Getting a lot of people to the ball. I mean, turnovers come when you get a lot of people to the ball. And the other thing that they do a really good job of second and third man in as chainsawing or punching at the ball. I mean, so your 5 points of contact on the ball as your ball carrier in this game against these people is really, really important, because it's not going to be just one tackle and down. They swarm really good, and that's what happens when you've got foot athletes on defense. Yeah. Defensive swarm is what causes turnovers. Unless somebody's just throwing it, straight to you, or something unusual happens, with an errant pitch, or with a bad handoff, or that. But they get a lot of people to the ball, so the 5 points of contact. I mean, your ball security is going to be huge because they go after it. They go after it. They're peanut punching that ball out. They're chainsawing that ball out. They're doing a lot of things to. I mean, it's coached. Their defensive coordinator. Mike Caldwell played for me at Arizona. He was a linebacker. He played for me at Arizona, so I've known Mike a long time, and I just know what his philosophy is, and I know how he was as a player, and I know what he's coaching now.
Trevor Lawrence is one of the young stars at quarterback in this league, but the numbers haven't been quite as good as they were last year. 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions a season ago, 9 touchdowns, 6 interceptions already this year. Quarterback rating just under 90. What isn't quite clicking for him as much as it was a season ago?
Well, I mean, it's clicking. I think the thing that is, you look at the record, you also look at where they are, at where some of those turnovers have come in ball games, and that's important. I mean, he's still, don't get it twisted. This guy's a problem, and he's a problem, and he has been ever since they made the head coaching flip that completely changed his life. It changed his NFL life. So when I look at him, I'm worried about getting to him. I'm not worried about him not clicking. I want to, we need to get him. We got to make it. We got to give him problems, and the way you do that. The other thing that would really help guys is if anytime you're playing behind the chains or behind the score, it's different the way your defense has to play, and so. I would love. We've seen this team play, ahead just a few times this year, and be able to stay ahead, and it makes a big difference in what you're able to do.
Coach Mack, when you look at what Evan Ingram can do to you across the middle, the guys that got to match up against him, Chance Campbell been put on IR, just injuries at that position in general. How do you try to cover the field with a guy's dynamic as Evan Ingram?
Well, you play zone defense, and you get man-to-man matchup on him. Then you've got to know if you get a man match on him, you better be getting some pretty quick pressure. Because Caleb brought up the yards after catch, so he catches the ball like that, especially if he catches the ball, between the railroad tracks. If he catches the ball between the number, he's a problem on the move. Because this guy's he's not a massively thick body, but he's a big long body that does really well. He's got great contact balance to begin with. So. And if you're going to play man on him, you better be sure you've got some quick pressure because I've seen him work, safeties and corners when they've been in man to man on him, and then linebackers on him. You better be getting pressure pretty quick on him.
And then the other thing that's been super interesting across the league, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, is kickers. Brandon McManus is solid, Coach Mack.
Let me ask you something. Every week we do this, and you guys are spot on. We look. Everybody's got them now.
They do.
Everybody's got a good kicker, and the punting game in the National Football League has elevated. I mean, we've got a great battery in what we have, and even with our struggles to win games, our kickers have been. I don't know of anybody. I haven't. This seems a little different year. There's not a lot of people that are Rolodexing through kickers. No. Everybody's pretty set with that. So you're right.
Yeah, no, it's almost like they heard the masses say they're not football players or something, Coach Mack. You know what I'm saying? Like they want to be recognized as football players.
Well, but I think
man.
just like anything else. I mean, they're getting trained younger.
Yep.
They're getting better at it, and they really are. And I think you really start looking at kickers now. I mean, it's really a pretty well honed craft now, as far as I'm talking about kicking and. Place kicking and punting has become a really, really honed craft because these guys are specialists. I mean, that's what they do. And you just watch it. I mean, there were times in the league. I've been in it long enough to know that there were some dudes looked like they just came off the couch, and would get. But these guys are athletes now. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're athletes, and they I can't think of anybody we've played this year that hasn't had a good. We talk about. Field position had a good punting game, and how many field goals are missed now in the National Football League other than the other night? And you got 12 people, so you get to try it again.
Oh, I know.
Anyway,
crazy. That's malpractice.
They're just getting better. I mean,
are.
that's what it is. They're getting better, and so the counter to that is you better have some on your team too.
Mm-hmm. It's not like when Tennessee literally got a guy off the couch at a fraternity house and Derek Brodus in 2014. That old story.
Well, see,
they literally got a guy off the fraternity couch.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
there it is. Now these guys. I mean, they've got. This is kind of in Will's wheelhouse. They've got that Australian football academy,
right?
Yep.
Where you have to be invited to come in, and they about had 150 a year that they're teaching now that are coming all over American football. So
it's crazy.
It is. It's like anything else in sports now. Mm-hmm. It's very specialized.
The first time I saw Jackson Ross, Tennessee's punter, kick his first punt with his right foot and then his next one with his left and roll out the other way based on where the ball was in the hash mark, I thought I had one too many mimosas before the game.
That guy's
I had not.
That's a great example of it. I mean, I've watched that guy and it's like, whoa. I mean, it's
crazy.
Anyway. Does that answer your question?
That answers my question. Yes, Coach Mack.
Special teams, check.
Analysis on all three phases early in this morning with Coach Mack, Titans Radio's head coach, with us every Thursday. Coach Mack, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Mack Attack.
When we continue, Jalen Duncan talking to media and to Kayla yesterday in the locker room. We'll play that audio coming up.
The temperatures are dropping rapidly. Energy costs are on the rise, and if you have old, drafty windows, your furnace is working harder than ever to keep your family warm. Window Nation wants to help this month with 0% financing for 5 years. Plus, 2 free windows with every 2 you buy. Now is the time to protect your family from the elements, lower your energy costs, and upgrade the look and feel of your home.
Yeah, and you don't want to wait until we get into the cold months of winter. We're still having some time. If you want to upgrade those windows in your home, maybe it's a new home, maybe you're looking to remodel and you want to save on your energy bills, do it now. You can save up to 30% by just keeping that heat inside with great windows from Window Nation. They've installed over 200,000 windows just last year alone. 96% perfection rate. And if you want to believe us, that's good, obviously, but go online. Over 10,000 positive reviews. So get your windows from Window Nation now. It is 866-90Nation or log on to windownation.com.
RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. It's a beautiful morning in Nashville. Coming up, we'll talk about what Mike Vrabel said about the left tackle position. Our daily conversation on that spot. Not a possum, not Bigfoot, but maybe Dylan Radins, the guy that's going to pop up there next. Get your binoculars out. You can see him just strolling around Nashville like Bigfoot. 615-737-1045, our number. Travis is in North Carolina. Next up with us on the phone lines. What's up, Travis?
Hey, how y'all doing this morning? Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, I just got a comment to make. I looking over some stats, and I figured everything out. I believe I did. Y'all know who number 2 in rushing is in the league this year?
Is it Deontay Thornton again?
Nah.
Oh.
Derrick Henry. As I was looking over the stats, and I noticed that Derrick Henry was number 2 in rushing, I realized that our team has stripped itself of its identity. If you take, the ferociousness and the tenacity out of a lion, it's no longer a lion, it's just a big cat. Our identity is to run the ball and be physical. We have fought so hard to try to change the way we do things in Nashville as far as trying to become more of a passing team that we have literally stripped ourselves of our identity. How many games have you guys looked at this year where you said to yourself, if we would have just ran the ball a little bit more, we probably would have won that game? I can go back to the New Orleans Saints game. If we would have just ran the ball, we probably would have had a better chance winning that game. But like I said, we're just, getting away from our identity, and I think it's showing in the whole team of just losing its physicality.
I appreciate the call, Travis. I disagree, personally. I mean, you had 11 carries for 24 yards against Tampa Bay. Do you really want to keep running it at a 2.2 yards per carry average with Derrick Henry? I mean, against Cleveland, Derrick had 11 carries for 20. Are you really going to keep running the football at 1.8 yards per carry? No. You're consistently running it on 1st and 10 or 2nd and 10, and you're getting 1 yard. That's why the Titans are in 3rd and 9 and have to throw.
Yeah.
That's why you're seeing them throw more on early downs is they're having no success running the football on early downs unless Derrick breaks a big one.
I also think this is just the reality of the situation, guys. We're in a transition period, and you are having to start to see parts of this offense, what they're looking to do. And especially now that you have Will Levis in at quarterback. So, a lot of people were begging for a different type of offense. Unfortunately, it's in that middle stage that we don't like, right? You're like the middle child. No offense to middle children, but I always hear that from middle children.
That's me.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's like kind of look at me. Hey, not doing much, right, with this offense. So I think it's just kind of growing pains, too, into this new type of offense. They just don't have all the weapons yet. Derrick Henry is still here. And even when we saw him try to get in a groove, Ramon, in that game on Sunday, didn't you kind of know from the start it wasn't going to happen?
You did. You did. Stopping the run is one of the more predictable things. And again, the one thing Travis said is you lost your identity. Your identity, more than anything, is the emphasis on the dudes that was up front. Like, you knew who Sappho, Lawan, Ben Jones. I mean, you go down the line, even Nate. Like, you go down that list of dudes that you had. That's the one thing that was working really, really, really good for Derrick when it was really the identity of this team. You're not in that same spot. To your point, Kayla, you've transitioned a little bit more. It's not those big bruising guys up front right now. And it's just not the same. So I'm with you, Will, on this one. Like, I love what Derrick Henry can do. And I don't think you should just, put him on the back burner a lot. But when you put him in a game like this past week in Tampa, this team, I think it was like 2nd and 7 or something like that. Derrick gets dropped for a 5-yard loss. And then we're in a bad situation in the red zone. That took you out of a good drive. Now you're in 3rd and long. You know that's not your way of operating. I ain't saying you're wrong, Travis, at all. But your method and what you're saying this team operated was at a different era.
Yeah.
You don't have the offensive line to run that kind of identity anymore. You just don't. I think the Titans would love to if they felt like that gave them their best chance to win, but I don't think it's the Titans' best chance to win right now. Derrick Henry is 2nd in rushing for 2 reasons. He's breaking big runs still and hitting the home run in some of these games. I mean, he has 12 carries for 97 against Baltimore, and 60 of that came on one carry out of the Wildcat in that game. And then the other thing is they're playing with a lead in a couple of these games, and then that's when Derrick Henry is at his best. That's the identity of the Titans offense. Get up early, get a lead, and run Derrick Henry until the defense just withers away. I mean, when you look at the Titans' wins this year, it's not because they're running Derrick. That's not why they're winning. They're winning, and then they're running Derrick to close it out late in the game. You can't just box score stat Derrick Henry and the Titans' rushing offense and say, 20 carries, and they win. If Derrick Henry had 20 carries on Sunday at a 2.2 yards per carry clip, this team loses by more than they actually did. That's what happens. In the wins, 22 for 101, 22 for 122, 25 for 80. A lot of those come in the second half after you already have a lead because Will Levis is throwing the football over people's heads against Atlanta specifically. Yeah. It's just we are putting the cart before the horse with this stuff so much. And I don't know how you don't, some people realize that this offensive line just isn't what it needs to be in order to run the football 30 times a game for 130, for 140.
With Derrick, no, absolutely not.
And Derrick is getting hit at the line of scrimmage, and he doesn't have the same ability to shed the first guy that we've seen him show in the past. Fair?
That's very fair.
He's not lost a step, but he's also not hitting the home run as much. He's hitting a lot of doubles.
Yep.
I mean, he'll get you a 9-yard, 10-yard gain every now and then, but we're seeing less of him just putting the team on his back and breaking 6 tackles on the way to the end zone like we have in the past.
Yep. He hasn't actually had that big one yet this season. You've had times
Baltimore is the only one.
You thought it, but and he didn't even go the distance. I mean, some of these he was going the distance when we saw the vintage Derrick, right?
And here's the other thing, too. To set up Derrick's run, to your point, you got to have blockers. That means usually a tight end, somebody in the backfield also. So defenses know that. Unless you're about to throw play action off of that, then it's obviously about to be a Derrick run.
And I disagree with Danny the F&M Bank Chat who says Henry is not an elite back anymore. He's got the worst offensive line in the NFL in front of him, and he's the second leading rusher in football.
Yeah.
He's still an elite back. But what is an elite back in today's NFL? People can quantify that in different ways. I say an elite back is a guy who can be top 3 in rushing despite having really bad offensive line play in front of him.
You know what put a real quick bow on this is? You have what some think an elite back, and you're 3-6.
Yeah, I mean, that's not his fault.
I know it's not his
Derek's
fault, but do you mean to tell me you still want to run the ball with an elite back? Or figure out other ways to get this job done. Again, it's more than Derrick up. It's up front. It's the defense. It's third down. It's red zone. It's a lot of things. That is a luxury thing you're trying to do right now.
We'll hear from Jalen Duncan coming up next as we start hour 2 here on RKW. Plus, Mike Vrabel gives his thoughts on the next best option at left tackle. The guy that's going to work there this week. Next on RKW.
7:01. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Titans injury report came out yesterday. Andre Dillard and Traylon Burks both remained out with concussions. Sean Murphy-Bunting and Danielle Brunskill were both limited. On the Jags side, Jamal Agnew did not practice with a shoulder injury, and Tyson Campbell was also out with a bum hamstring. Titans made a roster move yesterday, picking up offensive lineman Calvin Throckmorton, who has started over 40 games in 3 years for the Saints and Panthers. Conversely, the Titans put linebacker Chance Campbell on injured reserve. And tonight for Thursday Night Football, Ravens and Bengals kick off at 7:15. You can watch on Amazon Prime or listen right here on 104.5 The Zone. Both teams took a little beat up coming off losses on Sunday. Ravens have ruled out Ronnie Stanley and labeled cornerback Marlon Humphrey as doubtful. Bengals will be without wide receiver T. Higgins and defensive end Sam Hubbard. Trey Hendrickson has practiced with no injury designation the last 2 days after hyperextending his knee on Sunday versus the Texans. He is a go for tonight's game. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Seven a.m. in Nashville, Tennessee, and it's a good morning to have a good morning on RKW. Brewed up by 8th and Roast. Coming up in 15 minutes. Not only will we make you smarter, we'll make you some money. It's a good thing for the Thursday 3 in 15 minutes. Robert Walsh out to a commanding lead on the field, making a lot of U.S. dollars in your bank account. Got a lot of M's in his bank account. In his bank account. In his bank account. 615-737-1045, our number. With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. Robert Walsh, our producer. I'm Will Bowling, and that is the whitest you've heard someone rap this morning.
Was that a rap?
So far.
My bank account.
Low bar to clear.
You did. You
Very
did.
low bar to clear.
That was solid, Will. I give you A for effort, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, A for effort. That's cool.
That's what I give you for your Thursday 3.
No. I get a B from last week.
You were 2-1 last week.
Yeah, I was 2-1.
Technically, you went 66%, which I think is failing. But who is
If we wanna get
giving grades
technical,
out? You know,
right?
I'm not a teacher. Just giving out percentages.
I can't believe, Bert. I thought you was on my side with this thing. You were encouraging. I was real close to picking your
Well, now
team
he's realizing
last-
you're on a
tonight.
tear.
Yeah,
so
I'm on a
I got to
tear.
keep him down.
You know?
I can't have an uprising happening in the Thursday 3.
smack
So-
him down like a gopher.
Our records going into this week, we have Robert at 21-12, going 2-1
you.
last week. Hit on San Fran -3 against the Jags, Dallas -16.5 against the Giants, and Tommy DeVito. Kayla second at 19-13-1. We did have one push for the first time this season. I'm surprised it took this long to get a push.
Same.
Honestly.
Yeah.
LSU Florida over 63.5 was my only win of last week. Again, LSU over to send your kids to college. 15-18 is my record. And then Ramon goes 2-1 last week and is 11-22.
Gaining ground, baby.
You're still about as good as the Bear
Gaining
on
ground.
College Game Day.
Walking this thing down.
Not the
That guy
Bear.
needs to retire.
Stanford Steve on College Game Day, and then the Bear on Big Noon Kickoff. They're both having rough seasons.
I only got 11 wins.
Yeah, that's what we just said.
But you're making up for it with the losses.
Ramon, did I stutter?
Almost double the losses, buddy.
Hey,
1-1, 2-2.
we gotta get it going, man. I gotta walk this thing down.
Walk it out.
So Stanford
Jeez.
Steve, I think this was a month ago. He was 8-15-1 at that point. 16-26 is Stanford Steve, and he is the guy on College Game Day. So
Cool. Getting paid
you're
to
in
do
good
that.
company.
I'm in good company. I'll take
Yeah.
that. I'll take that. That ain't bad at all, y'all.
There was a bad beat last night in Buffalo, Miami of Ohio. I had Miami of Ohio -8.5 last night. And Buffalo had about an 80-yard touchdown, and then they ruled he fumbled on the 1-yard line. And then they recovered it in the back of the end zone, but the guy's foot was out of bounds. So it was a touchback, which, again, that touchback has got to be one of the most harsh rules in sports. in situations like that.
Why?
Miami of Ohio got the ball back and won the game by 2 scores. It was great. It was some action, just getting the people going.
That's what you call a bad beat right there, Will.
Bad beat for Buffalo, not for me. Couldn't beat my team.
Couldn't beat my team. There it is. Then.
I believe in my Miami of Ohio Redhawks.
Hold up, yours.
Yeah.
Oh,
if you know me, you know I love my Miami of Ohio football.
The fighting Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah,
That's
there
right.
we go.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where he went to college.
Who's been big? Oh, okay.
Not the clock and London.
I bet that guy had a terrible right guard for most of his career in Pittsburgh.
He did. His left one was solid as hell, though.
Dang it. That's on me. That's on me. Ramon played left guard, not right.
Good. That's pretty good.
I deserve a demerit for that. 615-737-1045, our number. Jalen Duncan talking in the locker room yesterday, Kayla. One of the Titans' options this week to play left tackle.
Yeah, he definitely is going to get probably an opportunity at some point. And so we just talked to him about how the development's been going, because that's really what he's been doing here, is continuing to develop. A little chip on his shoulder for being a 6th-round pick, you bet. He says, yeah, that has a little kind of chip here that's hanging around. I like that. So utilize that, right? Mm-hmm. You'd be the first one to say that, Ramon.
Absolutely. He needs to. That's going to be his MO. He needs to show that he's a fighter first.
And here he was yesterday in the locker room.
This season, I feel like I've developed a lot. I feel like I got better in a lot of the aspects of playing online. Using your hands, footwork, pad level, getting strong in the weight room, and of course getting that playbook and watching film.
Specifically, with this O-line group, there's been some injuries. How do you stay prepared at any time to possibly go in and have to step up in a time like you did just last week?
You just every week you just go out there and you work. Prepare like you're a starter. You never know when your name get called. It can happen. You can be you. They let you know the week before. It can happen during the game. So you just got to be ready.
With left tackle specifically, is that where you feel the most comfortable, or if you preferred a spot, where would you be?
Me personally, left tackle, but I'm working on both. I love to be the swing tackle. So.
How difficult is it to really hone that versatility on the line and just kind of plug in wherever they need you?
It's pretty difficult. That's why people tip their hats off to people that's able to, to move around that line. Doing something on one side of the ball, almost your whole career is then having to go work on the other side. It's you got to be able to flip a switch in your head. Your body gets accustomed to doing something one way, so then you got to get it to flip and go to the other side. So.
Do you have a chip on your shoulder at all, just in terms of where you landed in the draft, what maybe the projectability was?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I do. Of course, I thought I was gonna go higher than what I did, but I'm grateful to be here, and I'm continuing to work. And when my name is called, I'll be ready to go.
I like attitude.
Yeah,
Rookie tackle Jalen Duncan. There he was.
He has that Baltimore dialect in him too. When they say like twos and do,
Yeah.
two. Do. Yeah, you heard a lot on the wire. It's the only reason I know that. But yeah, Kayla, great interview by him. He said all the right things. And I'll say this too. You got a first-person answer to how difficult it is to go from right to left.
Yep.
You heard a young guy say, you got to tip your hat for the ones that can do that. So having that versatility is huge, and learning that is also a big thing for guys too. So maybe a second week for Dylan Radins at left tackle, or Jalen Duncan, if he gets an opportunity, will be better because of practice. So we'll see what this is going to look like this week.
And Dylan Radins was mentioned by Mike Vrabel yesterday at the podium too, and he said Dylan will work at left tackle, and so will Jalen Duncan. How much could Dylan Radins benefit from a full week practicing at that position?
Full week, a lot, because you expect him to be prepared. Training yourself to move from one side or moving inside out is always going to be a challenge. It just is a different type of speed, and you have to be that right type of athlete also. This week, I expect it to be better. They were embarrassed. They got beat up, and they're going to continually get beat up until they start to change stuff.
I think it's interesting with Radins because you're asking him to be a Swiss Army knife on this offensive line while he's just trying to be a consistent player to begin with, right? This is not like a Daniel Brunskill who has made an entire career out of his versatility. Dylan Radins was drafted to be the tackle for the Tennessee Titans.
He was.
And to be left tackle.
Absolutely.
They quickly pivoted to right tackle. And now the musical chairs, how much will that have maybe stunted his growth a little bit? Or how much of that now just needs to be what he is?
The one positive that he's getting is playing time, live reps. That's the one thing that he's doing. But to specialize in one thing is what every player wants. Dylan Raden's in his third year right now. Hasn't been given that because of injuries been a part of it too. That's been a huge part of why he hasn't settled into a spot. But will at where he is, as young as he is and as less reps he's had over these 3 years, he still is in the establishment mode though.
And not only that, in terms of injury, like he lost the right tackle position last year to NPF.
Yeah.
He lost that, you guys. That was a battle till the very end of camp. So some missed opportunities early on in his career here. He's still young. Unfortunately, this is football. This is the situation he's in. He's going to have to make the best of it. Hopefully he can settle in there at left tackle for right now and do a well enough job that he can kind of be in one spot, because I don't know what's going to happen if Dillard comes back. Has he earned a spot back there? I personally don't believe so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Right?
Yeah.
Dylan Radens is why you're not moving Peter Skronsky from guard to tackle. In my opinion. The struggles you saw Dylan Radens have mid-game, when he's a guy that has been guard, right tackle, right guard, right tackle. Oh, all of a sudden, left tackle? That transition and it going so poorly is why you don't switch Peter Skronsky there and complicate things too much.
Yep.
Right there.
It is. Absolutely. And hopefully for Dylan Radens, man, he gets that opportunity to stick somewhere. That's been his biggest issue. And, well, you're right. That might actually just be his career.
Phone calls coming up next to 615-737-1045. The Thursday 3 makes you money on the football weekend when we come back.
Genesis Diamonds' biggest and last sale of the year is here this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You've been hearing about this, okay? It's an extraordinary event with savings up to 35% store-wide. They'll have rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets. Nothing is held back for this once-a-year, 3-day store-wide event. Acclaimed designers are here with their expanded collections and special pricing. It's a massive jewelry trunk show with a lot of new items never seen before. California and New York designers are here showing off the good stuff. Get across the board savings from wedding bands to engagement rings to fashion jewelry and bracelets. Shop early for Christmas and don't miss these prices. Plus, get 0% interest financing while you're there. And yes, they will have their luxury pre-owned Rolex watches also included in the sale. Genesis has a fantastic collection of really hard-to-find Rolex watches in pristine condition. Lab-grown diamonds also included. So listen when Genesis has a diamond. When Genesis Diamond has a sale, you know it's a real deal. Extreme values at this once-a-year event, the biggest and last store-wide sale of the year. It's Friday, Saturday, and yes, open Sunday for this incredible event at Genesis Diamonds, located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling with you. Coming up in 20 minutes, we will continue our Q's and K's this morning. Hear from Kyle Phillips, man who is a Renaissance man, reborn in the Titans locker room.
I found out who I think he looks like.
Oh, okay.
Have you guys seen Shameless? I think he looks like Carl
He
off
does
of Shameless.
look like Carl. He does.
Never
That's a
seen
great
that.
point.
Okay.
The beanie's new this year, guys. I asked him about it. He
Okay.
had like the trucker hat kind of Cali look last year. Now he's doing kind of the short beanie look. That's
I
his
didn't
thing.
even really notice
That's
that.
him. Okay.
Just
okay.
every video he'll have that beanie on.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
I learned yesterday, I was talking about this with my girlfriend yesterday, and I learned that toboggan is a Southern term.
It is?
I never knew this. She was like, oh, I got a hat in the mail from Amazon. And I said, like, oh, did you get a toboggan? She was like, I didn't buy a sled. I was like, what do you? No, I know. You said hat. And I said toboggan. She's like, what's a toboggan?
She ain't know
A
what
winter
toboggan
hat.
was.
She was like, no, it's just called a winter hat. Like, no, it's not. It's called a toboggan.
Yeah, it's called toboggan.
I thought it was a special thing if it was a toboggan.
Toboggan is, I would consider what he had on like a toboggan.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I consider that a beanie.
I've seen him roll that beanie
Well,
up. Well,
beanie doesn't cover your ears, I feel like. Beanie just covers your head. Toboggan like covers your ears like a winter hat.
Toboggan covers everything. A beanie, I feel like, is just
Yeah,
a
that's what I'm
smaller
saying.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we're saying the same thing.
Well, we're saying the same thing.
There you go.
Huh. Yeah, toboggan is what I've been known for it to be called.
Merriam-Webster says that it's chiefly a Southern and Midland USA thing.
Okay, there you go.
All right, then. There we
There
go.
it is.
Look at us.
We're right.
We're here for
Who'd
this.
have
We're on the right side of
demographic.
history with
We're
this
on the
one.
right side
For
of
this
history.
geographic
Yes.
area.
Come for the football, stay for the geography. Thursday 3 is where you stay for making money. Again, our records. Robert is 21-12.
Boo.
Kayla 19-13-1. I am 15-18. Ramon is 11-22. This also, since we have a tie now, means that Dawn Davenport will probably not listen to this show anymore.
Oh,
But that's okay.
She's not into ties at all.
She
yeah,
is
ties.
not. Let's start. Let's go in record order. Go Robert, Kayla, myself,
Whoa.
then Ramon.
Whoa. Absolutely not.
We can snake it if you want. You can have back-to-back bets if you
No,
want.
we're going on who did what last week. We've been doing it there that way for the last 10 weeks, and now you want to switch it up when I'm out here on a streaker right now, just on a heater right now, man.
You would still technically be second if we're going by what happened last
Well,
week.
I ain't
so-
going last from what happened last week.
Oh my goodness.
So it'll go
Take the wins where you can get
Robert,
'em.
Ramon, me, then Kayla.
Okay, that's cool with me.
I'll bring up the caboose, you betcha.
Robert Walsh, first up.
I'll start with my fun one. I like overs. Overs are always fun.
Amen.
Never betting against a low-scoring game. UCS and US.
Oh, God.
UCS.
It's a terrible
Okay.
way to start
got
this
it
one
there.
off. USC and UCLA. A report came out earlier this week that Chip Kelly is likely to be let go after this year, which kind of blows my mind because he brought UCLA back to a relevance where this first year they didn't really do diddly, but the next 2 years I think he won 8 games, and the next year he won 9 games. UCLA needs to reevaluate who the hell they are in college football because you're not going to get much better than that.
Well, and they're going to the Big Ten, so strap up, boys.
Yeah, figure that out. I don't know who you're going to go grab, but Chip Kelly seems like the guy that he would. He's recruited. He's been there for 6 years. I would stick with Chip Kelly. And Caleb Williams and USC kind of going off for a tough tear, losing 4 of the last game. So I think this is going to be an over. I think Caleb Williams got a lot to prove. Drake May's kind of been on a hot streak. Chip Kelly's got a lot to prove to say, hey, don't fire me because I've kind of brought you guys back to prominence. I have the over at 65.5, and I would like to take that.
Good pick.
Oh, gosh.
Why?
Who
What's
are you supposed
what's
to
the
be?
number at? What's the number?
Lee Corso.
Oh,
I'm
good
looking.
pick. Do you
Oh,
have
I thought you were going to tell me. Actually, it's 69.5
Right.
now.
Oh,
Do you have the mascot
I don't
head
know
over
why I
there?
can't find it. I can't find this Big Ten matchup anywhere. There we go. Over 65.5.
Okay, love that. No changes
Look at that.
necessary.
Ba-da-dum, boom.
I did bet. I actually last week it was kind of funny. I parlayed the Iowa under and the USC over. It was these two teams play the same sport parlay, and the Iowa under was 29.5. The USC over was 77.5. It almost hit, but it did not quite. Ramon Foster
That's
goes
fair.
second.
This one's going to be fun, too. This is a good pick for me. I absolutely love seeing
We'll
foes
see.
fight each other. Okay,
Oh, geez.
Baltimore, Cincinnati tonight.
Okay.
Thank you, Prime. Thank you. Not DM, but this is a good game right here. If we're going to stay up late on Thursdays, at least make it a game worthwhile. This one, to me, Baltimore's favored by 3.5 points. I'm taking those 3.5 points. I think at the bank, big trust all day, man. Do you hear me? Big trust all day, Bert. I'm not even trolling you on this one. I love to bury Cincy any chance I get, okay? They'll be without Sam Hubbard and T. Higgins, and the fact that they lost the way they did last weekend. You guys at least made some boneheaded mistakes last week in Baltimore. There's no need to not run the ball anymore. You guys throwing passes and stuff like that. Let somebody come back and creep back on you. Big trust at the house this weekend. I'm taking the 3.5. Baltimore wins this one. I would almost say more convincingly than any other win they've had this year.
Whoa, he's trying to get bonus points.
I'm not even trolling my dog, Bert. I know it's an emotional day for him. He had a bath soak weekend.
Find you someone who loves you the way Ramon loves hating Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
What is the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
I hope your hot streak continues. Let's put it that way.
I got you on that one, yeah.
All right, for my first pick, anyone want to guess where I'm going to go?
Something with the over.
LSU or Iowa? Which one is it?
LSU.
Over or the under. Yeah.
Will is in the. If it ain't
Guys,
broke, don't fix it.
It's happened every game this season. Let's not stop now.
Yeah.
The LSU defense could not stop a bad nosebleed. They've probably got the Heisman frontrunner right now in Jaden Daniels. LSU, Georgia State, over 71.5, baby. Give it to me.
Oh, wow.
Give it to me. 71.5 points against Georgia State. Hammer it. I'm like freaking when you get the sledgehammer in Super Smash Bros. Just hammer, 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 hammer. Wah, 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 wah. I know that's Pac-Man. I don't care. LSU, Georgia State over 71.5 is my first bet. It's the way you send your kids to college.
So with this pick, you'd think that this was going to be Will's next one, but the under, because it has Iowa involved in the title. But Illinois at Iowa. Iowa 7-0 straight up in the past 7 home games against Illinois. It's also a chance for them to punch their ticket to the Big West Championship on Senior Day in Ames. And it all sounds, it's at Iowa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Iowa City.
Iowa City, excuse me. Ames, Iowa is Iowa State, right?
That's Iowa State.
Yes. So
I've got that pick coming up later.
I am going to go. Of course, you got an Iowa team in there. I'm going to go with the -3 Iowa.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm surprised you weren't going with the under.
No, I
On
don't
Iowa
like the
game.
unders and overs.
She's not a coattail rider.
No.
That's real. That's real.
I attempted to do it on one game, but I decided not to.
The total's in the 30s.
I know, that's your thing.
Kayla's an eye. She knows what she wants.
Oh, I know.
You ain't going to move her off her spot.
Give me that little cute Hawkeye.
It is 3.5 on
okay.
currently.
It's called gambling for a reason, Will. What are you talking
It's
about?
called gambling, not cash outing.
Exactly.
Robert Walsh, second pick, please.
Dang, I'm up again. Last week, I made a little money picking a big spread, something I generally stay away from, but I think I'm going to have to delve back into the well again. Dolphins hosting the wherever the hell they are, the Vegas Raiders.
Which ones? Okay.
they're hosting the Raiders. The Raiders have been on a tear the last 2 weeks, winning 2 games with their interim head coach. I think that the fairy tale comes to an end. They've run into the buzzsaw that is Tua.
Yeah.
I'm cool with the spread, even though it is double digits. I've got them at 12.5. I think we've conferred on that.
We have.
I'm taking the Dolphins to cover that. I don't know if you guys saw Tua at the press conference. He's
He looks like Drake.
He's rode up.
Geez.
He's started from the bottom, and now he's here.
Tua is dropping 60 on the
Heard about it
Raiders.
in the headlines.
He's dropping what?
He's dropping 60.
Oh, jeez.
I'll look this up right
Tua
here.
is
By the way, since
in
we're
the
talking
groove.
about Drake, the song he had on his last album with J. Cole, the music video came out for it, and it is it is music video of the year, and I have watched Creed and Drake music videos.
Am I out of line for saying that's one of the best Drake songs he's made in a long time?
No, I would not disagree with you. The
I
music
I just
video.
love J.
Can
Cole.
we put it up on the screen?
Yeah, I could play it for you guys in the break.
Okay, perfect.
Tua got cornrows. Look at him.
He's
man.
going to be extra motivated
is that
because
what you're
all of
doing
his
over there?
let's just be friends
I had
or
to see it.
that friends
Let
he
me
doesn't
see
have
it.
anymore
Let
might
me
actually
see
show
it.
up to the game this week.
Yeah,
Shoot that computer over this way.
yeah.
Oh, look at you,
Or
Tua.
on an audio
All right.
medium,
He
Ramona's
looks like
showing
Kyler
us
Murray.
the picture of Tua.
He does look like Kyler Murray.
He said the
out
wifey loves it. That's why I'm hammering Dolphins 12.5.
Well, he's
Boom.
having a good week, ain't
Boom.
he?
If he's confident enough to say the word wifey publicly,
He
then
said
I think
that?
he's feeling pretty good.
Goodness.
Ramon Foster, second pick, please.
Second pick, man. I'm saying in the NFL again. Buffalo and the Jets. I actually like this. At Buffalo, I actually like the Jets' defense against what Buffalo's presenting. Their strongest suit. So you shaking your head? Well, their strongest suit for the Jets is that defense. Sauce Gardner. They got them plus. They got them Bills when there's some -7. Give me +7 Jets on this one.
Okay.
Where you at?
You're going +7.
I am.
That's my dog right there.
Absolutely.
Hey, you can't spell money without Moan, baby. Tell him, Moan.
Hey, you better tell him.
Tell him.
You can't spell money without Mo. That's great.
all I'm saying. Give me +7 Buffalo and Jets.
I was looking through my stats this year of who I've bet on the best or worst.
Yeah,
I am winless
good.
betting on the Bills this year.
So
I'm
went right.
0-5.
So this is your week to get back on track.
Well, I'm not putting them in my picks. I'm not.
He's not touching
getting
that.
close to Buffalo.
Are you not?
Both literally and figuratively. I'm not getting
like
close to
chicken
Buffalo.
pox.
You trust the Bills?
Chicken wings.
I mean the Jets. Then
I do not trust the Jets. I would never bet on Zach Wilson ever.
I'm betting on the Jets defense.
Saucy.
No, but
Watch, run it.
I like Bills -7 in that one, but that might be better news for you. My second pick, I am going to Ames, Iowa.
Oh, baby.
Where the Iowa State Cyclones will be covering 7.5 against Texas. Iowa State freshman quarterback Rocco Becht having a decent season, over 2,000 passing yards, 15 touchdowns this year. The Cyclones are 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games, and Texas has lost 4 of its last 5 games in Ames.
That's a weird place.
2 out-of-conference losses, guys, for Iowa State, who still has a chance to make the Big 12 championship game. Don't look now.
Oh, wow.
Matt Campbell has those boys back, ready to play. Texas 9-1, but I think this is a little bit of a letdown game for the Longhorns. And this time of year, I talk about it a lot. This time of year, like Kirk Herbstreit said on College Game Day, I'll give him credit for making the statement originally, and he's right. Great teams that are in the playoff hunt have duds this time of year. I don't think Texas loses the game, but I think Iowa State keeps it within 7.5.
That's fair.
Okay. Why I decided to go head-to-head, I mean, technically in the beginning, I was beating you head-to-head. You won the last time we went head-to-head with Louisville. But I'm going to go head-to-head because I ain't scared.
Okay, run it.
I ain't scared. I don't back down.
Run it.
So you mentioned the Bills and the Jets, and I did go back and forth with this one.
Yeah.
And then I came to the conclusion the Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills are the most frustrating team, I feel like, in the league because they'll have games where you're like, that's a really good team, possibly even Super Bowl contending team, and then they will completely hit the wall.
Yes, they will.
So now I feel like this week it's a bounce back week for them because they got an embarrassing loss, and now Josh Allen, they're back at home. My God, you can't blow this one unless it's blowing it out of the water. So I'm going with minus, what is it?
-7. Yeah.
7.
With Bills.
He's
Okay.
also leading the league in interceptions.
He is. Moan, I'm giving him a pass this week, remember? It goes up and down.
Okay,
up
are you
and down.
vouching? 'Cause
Interim coach
No
bump at
vouches.
offensive coordinator,
I
too.
learned early, no vouches because of this man.
And they're also switching OC this week. +7 wins.
That's true.
I think the interim coach bump, though, has been proven already in Antonio Pierce of the Raiders, and you bet against him, too.
Do not let Joe Brady skew your.
Don't let him cook.
Do not.
He's trying to change.
Don't let Joe Brady cook.
Hey, Joe Brady coached at where your former head coach coached at, William and Mary. That's where he came
that's
from before he
sweet.
went to LSU. Little
Okay.
nugget there for you.
Appreciate that.
Every week I got to include a sicko pick for you, and I am a
Do it.
sicko for my East Carolina Pirates. They play
Oh.
on Saturday.
Ooh.
And a little history lesson for you guys. Navy has East Carolina's number. Every year, without fail, you'll be at a home game. ECU will be rolling. They'll be one game from bowl eligible. Play Navy, they'll lose 63-7. They can't tackle. I don't know what it is, but the Navy has East Carolina's number. They play on Saturday. The spread is 2.5. I love the under here as well, which is very low at 30. But ECU's offense is putrid. Their defense is much better this year, but I still like Navy to clear the very low bar. I'm going to take Navy -2.5.
Okay.
I like it.
ECU popped up in a high spot in 247 Sports as worst 25 teams in college football.
They are not. Well, it's kind of like the end of a cycle, right? It was the end of the 4 years. They lost their starting 2 receivers. They lost Keaton Mitchell. They lost Holt Naylor. They lost everybody on their team. And if there's one negative to this coaching staff is that they are loyal to a fault. They stuck by their guys. They didn't go in the transfer portal, and it did not pay off for them. So I've got the midshipmen this week to cover the spread.
They'll be not mid. Sorry.
Yeah, it was
Ramon
terrible.
Foster.
I don't think y'all realize, but the NFL has a Superman. And you know who it is?
Which one?
It's where I'm going this weekend. I'm going to Denver, okay? And I'm going to watch Joshua Dobbs turn into Astro Boy.
Yeah, baby.
That's what I'm telling you, okay?
Yeah.
Denver versus Minnesota, man. I'm on the Dobbs train. It is what it is. I'm betting with my heart a little bit here. He goes from Joshua Dobbs to Astro Boy is all I'm telling you guys, okay? I got him plus 2.5 on the road in Denver. Book it, okay?
Book it.
Book it.
Dobbs effect.
Not so fast, my friend.
Okay, Lee Corso. Not so fast, my
Not
friend.
so fast, my friend.
Are we butting heads today?
I mean, I'm not going to bet on the Broncos, but Russell Wilson is kind of cooking
That's
now.
right.
He's playing really well. I don't know if this is the right time to bet against Russ in altitude at home. And I don't know.
Broncos country.
I know. They're finally riding.
I cannot.
They're finally riding.
I cannot with that guy.
For my third pick, I'm going to stay in college football. It's where all three of my bets are this week. Give me the Oregon Ducks at Arizona State, minus 23.5. Oregon 7-2-1 against the spread in their last 10, 10-4-1 against the spread in their last 15 games against a Pac-12 opponent. That's a good number to get. If you want 4 touchdowns, you're going to easily get it at 28. So minus 23.5. That's an important number to get, so you cover the 24, and then you cover anything above that, obviously, too. So wanted to get that number before it moved up beyond the 24.5. So give me the Ducks.
Tempe is not a hard place to play either.
No, it is not.
It's a good place to go out, have some drinks. Nice ladies down there for anybody, you know. Anyway, that's besides the point. So I'm going to stay in the NFL for this one. And I do not like Russ Wilson. I do not like Kyler Murray. I think that's been documented several times on this show. It has been documented.
Also Josh McDaniels.
Exactly. So I'm not going to all of a sudden just like him because he came back and played well and got Arizona a win last week. Because now you're heading down to Houston. And C.J. Stroud is running things right now. That rookie is on a mission. And I feel like he is taking advantage of his situation like nobody else in the league this year. He only continues to get better. They're in Houston. I think they're starting to get a swag about them. D'Amico Ryan's doing a hell of a job down there. Yeah. So give me Houston minus 5.5.
4.5.
4.5. Oh,
even better
4.5.
for you.
Let's go.
Give you another point.
Because I don't believe in Kyler Murray, folks.
I'm with you on that.
I don't believe in him. And I hope he wears that green suit.
Is it still a double XP weekend in Call of Duty, Robert? Can you confirm nor deny?
I will neither confirm nor deny.
That is an important footnote that you need for betting purposes for Arizona games. If it's a double XP weekend on Call of Duty, then you can't expect Kyler Murray to cover a spread.
Well, the thing is now there are tokens that you can use.
Oh.
So if he's drinking Code Zero or the Dew,
that's true.
He's just got XP flowing.
That's true. All right, so that's the Thursday 3. Those are our picks. Robert on the USC UCLA over. Dolphins minus 12.5 against the Raiders. ECU Navy minus 2.5. Kayla going, what was it? Iowa minus 3.5.
Yeah.
Against Illinois. Bills minus 7. Texans minus 4.5. I have got LSU Georgia State over. That just makes me laugh every time. LSU Georgia State over 71.5, which is so ridiculous. Iowa State plus 7.5 against Texas. Oregon minus 23.5 at Arizona State. Ramon Aloysius Foster going with Ravens minus 3.5, Jets plus 7, Vikings plus 2.5. Coming up, we'll hear from Kyle Phillips inside the Titans locker room. Our next Q&K after this.
Hey, it's Kayla Anderson for Wang Vision Institute, now offering intense pulse light treatments. And you might be wondering, what in the heck is that, right? Because they do everything eyes over there, but they also deal with the skin. Photofacial treatment, it rejuvenates the skin. Maybe you've been dealing with sun damage. You see those dark spots now. You're getting a little bit older on the face, and these treatments are great. They can even out the skin tone and texture, and it only takes 20 to 30 minutes to perform, not invasive. For more information and for other services, you can visit wangvisioninstitute.com. You can also book a free online vision seminar. That's every Tuesday at 6:45. So RSVP, schedule that and your free consultation at wangvisioninstitute.com. Your eyes and skin will thank you for the long-lasting results.
Finishing up the first half of the show on your Thursday morning RKW, brewed by 8th and Roast and streaming live on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, where you can watch the program.
Twitch, please.
And in the F&M Bank chat, you can join the conversation there where Karen writes in, Will is 100% correct. Well, I don't even know what I'm correct about, but I agree, Karen. Thank you.
You were correct for using program. That's why you were correct.
Program.
In the South, we say toboggan for winter hats and program instead of program. We've gotten a lot of reviews about Ramon saying people use envelop instead of envelope also in yesterday's show.
Yeah, we did.
Including Rhett.
Still can't believe that's a thing.
Envelope.
Yeah. Rhett said his grandma used it.
We enveloped that topic pretty well.
We did envelop that topic. Really. What's
Michael
wrong
in Clarksville next with us here on RKW. Hey, Michael.
Hey, guys. How y'all doing?
Good morning.
I got a couple kind of thoughts I wanted to run by you and get y'all's opinion. I've noticed over the last few years that the Tennessee Titans seem to be leading the league in injuries, and I'm wondering, does that have to do with strength and conditioning, or does that have to do with players not, sticking to proper diets and things like that? And the second thought is, I don't understand, with as bad as our offensive line is, why the Titans keep running up the middle in tight formations. It's like they put all of our players up on the line, all of their players up on the line, and then tried to run Derrick Henry straight up the middle, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. What is y'all's opinions on those?
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate the call.
Michael.
For the injuries, I would say hit the Unsolved Mysteries music because that's just something I don't know if you can really pinpoint. They did change some of the things in the training room this past year. They don't have, crazy enough, you guys, they have not had as many injuries as the last 2 years. If you really look at transactions,
It's not been a problem this year.
It really hasn't been as bad.
No,
it's been
right.
more like just unfortunate injuries,
Yeah,
I think.
football injuries.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
I don't think injuries have been a problem at all this season.
No.
Yes.
That was perfect.
I love
But
that.
coming up on next week's episode of the X-Files, we'll decide why the 2021 Titans had to use 8,000 players to finish an NFL season.
Was it aliens?
8/7 Central on the CW.
Aliens.
We made it up.
Solid.
That story is a fabrication.
Yes.
We made it up.
That is a fabrication.
It's not real. All right, anyway. Second question was about why do the Titans keep running up the middle in tight formations? That's the opposite of the call we got an hour ago.
It was.
But I agree with this one a lot more. Michael in Clarksville, I think, is on the right track there.
He is. Why? It's because it's what your identity has been, and it works if it's good. And we talk about this O-line, and that, hate to keep piling on to them, but it is what it is when it boils down to what their production has been. You don't have the personnel, or they're not in a good enough phase in their careers to be able to actually move other defenses the way they have in years past, whether that be scheme, whether that be the guys up front. You got to think there's 3 new people up the middle, essentially. Brewer he's essentially your new center. You also look at the guards, both of them new. You got a new left tackle and a new right tackle. That's almost silly to demand of those guys to run the old style. So why are they doing it? Because it's what you have to do to block for Derrick, too. Like, Derrick's not a nickel runner as much as you like to think, meaning you don't have a tight end in.
Kyle Phillips is one of the guys who's benefiting from a more spread out offense. Our next Q&K this morning was his conversation in the locker room yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. We still feel like we're a part. We can keep going. So, like I said, once we get this first one, hopefully we can just go on a roll and keep going.
This is a defense the Jags have obviously built over time here. What sticks out to you with what they do well?
They're good at getting the ball out. I believe they're at number 1 in forced turnovers, so just definitely got to protect the ball this week.
When it comes to the red zone for them, though, I think that's one thing they do struggle with. And in an opportunity where you guys are looking every week to get better down there, you got to take advantage of that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Got to capitalize down there and just get in the end zone, get some points on the board.
When it comes to you in Levis's development together, what makes that work? How is that, I guess, the chemistry building each and every week?
Yeah, just banked reps over time, what we got in the off season, the rest we get in after practice every now and then. So it's just continue to keep banking good reps and keep it rolling.
How much confidence are you building in yourself?
Definitely a lot. Each week when you're able to have decent games, get a few catches, get a little more confidence in you, and able to play a little bit better.
He definitely has a different confidence to him, guys. He's actually sitting at his locker. He's ready for us to talk to him. You're seeing it on the field.
Awesome.
Love it. Good stuff. 615-737-1045 is our number. Coming up next, Eli Drinkwitz finally won a game to back up all of his talk and then talked a little bit more after his win over Tennessee. Whatever we stand on business here means. That's what he said to Josh Heupel post-game. Our thoughts next.
It's Ramon Foster for Scoreboard Bar and Grill. This weekend, Scoreboard Bar and Grill Cedar Creek is Game Day Central. Kick it off Friday from 3 to 6 as 3HL broadcast live, where you can enjoy 2-for-1s, register to win UT tickets, and try to beat Brent and Slay's picks for a $250 prize pack. Saturday, start off with their Build Your Own Bloody Mary bar and catch your favorite college teams in action on over 60 TVs. And Sunday Funday kicks off with the NFL, and the Spasmatics take the stage at 4. So indulge in the flavors of the season at Scoreboard Bar and Grill, introducing their new seasonal drinks crafted to perfection. Whether you crave a spice delight or a sweet winter kiss, their new drinks are sure to elevate your spirits, okay? And you can pair them with their fantastic hot chicken and delicious smoked meats. And on stage, they'll be rocking 7 days a week, too, with live music. So check out the socials for information. Scoreboard Bar and Grill, November is packed with exciting events, and you won't want to miss a beat. Follow them on social media to stay in the loop. Scoreboard and the Nashville Palace.
Just about 8 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Titans injury report from yesterday. Andre Dillard and Traylon Burks both remained out with concussions. Sean Murphy-Bunting and Daniel Brunskill were both limited. On the Jag side, Jamal Agnew did not practice with a shoulder injury, and cornerback Tyson Campbell was also out with a bum hamstring. Titans made a roster move yesterday, picking up offensive lineman Calvin Throckmorton, who has started over 40 games in 3 years for the Saints and Panthers. Conversely, putting linebacker Chance Campbell on injured reserve. And tonight for Thursday Night Football, Ravens and Bengals kick off at 7:15. You can watch that on Amazon Prime or right here on 104.5 The Zone. Both teams a little beat up coming off losses from Sunday. Ravens have ruled out Ronnie Stanley and labeled Marlon Humphrey as doubtful. Bengals will be without wide receiver T. Higgins and defensive end Sam Hubbard. Trey Hendrickson has practiced with no injury designation in the last 2 days after hyperextending his knee on Sunday versus the Texans. He is a go for tonight on Thursday Night Football. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show already on a Friday Junior edition of RKW. We are brewed by 8th and Roast, and we've got a full crew here in studio. Jim Nagy, the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl, joins us at 8:25. We've got Andy Staples of On 3 at 9:20, and you on the phone lines at 615-737-1045. A fast 4 hours halfway through on a Thursday morning.
It is flying by. These weeks, it's holiday season. I'm telling you guys, everything flies by faster. Because it's the weeks that you want to kind of have go on a little longer, especially when you got time off. And you're like, wait, it was just Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's exactly what
Now we're
happens.
putting up Christmas trees and lights.
We did, and I got to call myself out, too.
no.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I did it. So they schedule certain stuff this time of the year because it's holiday season, right, Kayla? We see, of course, city council or, just local government putting up Christmas lights and wreaths and stuff like that. And businesses will actually call you to try to put you on their schedule for stuff.
Oh.
I get home yesterday and I get a alert on the camera. Somebody's in the front yard. Well, I got to call myself out because Christmas lights and wreaths are already up in my house, y'all.
I knew it. I knew it.
Wasn't this year You're Not That Guy literally on Tuesday
Yes, sir.
for people
Yes,
that have
sir,
put
he
up their
says.
Christmas stuff?
Yes, sir.
So you are not that guy
Yes,
by
sir.
your own admission
Yeah.
and
You are all-
definition.
Exactly.
Yes, you are right.
I award you 0 points and may God have mercy on your soul.
To make it better, though, fully unplug the timing outlet, okay? The timing scheduler thing from the house. I did that at least. So the lights won't be on, but if you happen to ride by,
Okay.
you will see lights and wreaths and stuff
Sounds like the
that.
lights are on and nobody's home in your head is what's going on.
What's worse,
Whoa.
Ramon already having his Christmas lights up, or me still having my
Oh, no.
Halloween decorations
From 2
up?
years ago?
Not 2 years. Not 2 years. We still have pumpkins on the front porch and a little Halloween hanger on the door. But
Ooh, we got
Ramones
to get
are
that down.
infinitely worse.
I
Infinitely
don't
worse.
know, but that's the past.
But Halloween is still fall, and we are still in fall.
And those
Christmas is
pumpkins-
winter, and we're not in winter yet.
those pumpkins are holding strong, man. I thought they would
They're
be.
not rotting?
I thought the possum or the raccoon or the skunks that live in my neighborhood, all the pests. I thought they'd be eating on them bad boys. No.
Good
Me
job,
too.
Pumpkin.
That's impressive, pumpkin. Good job,
I'm debating
pumpkin.
because we have so much wildlife to walk. There's like this empty little area over there. I'm debating if I am going to walk across the street and smash the pumpkin so that the deer can eat them.
Oh,
You should.
I
You
would,
think I should?
Is it in front of your house?
It's like up and over in front of me and my homie Shad's house or whatever. It's right
Sure.
across the street.
Even better than that, you should let the pumpkins ferment, so then all the little woodland creatures can get a little buzz.
There you go.
Record them on the cameras.
I'm telling you.
Pumpkin spice of its own.
I wonder, can I do that? I probably just broke a HOA law doing that, though.
Probably.
Would you put Rudolph up there in your little fear, though, of the deer? Like maybe
Absolutely not.
Rudolph, they would take him out if they put, okay.
And then I saw them dudes getting on the roof yesterday, too. Oh, my
Putting
Lord.
up Rudolph up there?
No, I won't go that far. We're going to keep it real clean and simple. Reefs on the windows and white lights.
Keeping
My
it
dad
classic.
fixed that for me when I was a kid. I used to be scared of deer as well, and then he told me that he would shoot Rudolph if he ever saw it. And then I was terrified.
Wow.
He was serious.
No, my dad's a hunter, so
Right.
he's been hunting deer for forever. But he said, if I ever see Rudolph, don't you worry about Rudolph getting you, because I'll shoot him.
Okay, he's putting numbers up on the board is what he's doing.
I'm telling you, he
Okay.
wants to mount Rudolph. He wants a little nightlight for free.
He tag all his deers, and we can't talk about that.
He be eating them.
Okay.
In North Carolina, there's also a thing where they're worried about, not to get in the weeds of this, but they're worried about this disease in deer that you do have to tag them and send a portion of it in. But sometimes you just got to eat.
Is that venison?
Oh dear,
that is
I
venison.
knew he was waiting on that.
Yeah, that's
Venison is not cheap to make things into either. Like beef jerky,
Yeah,
making that out of venison. I guess it's like pricey.
If you go to
super
like
lean though too.
very lean.
Yeah.
If you go to a butcher or you go to someone who processes deer for you, it is expensive. But if you learn how to do it on your own, making jerky is one of the cheapest thing there is to do. If you're the one hunting the deer, pulling them in, because you can get so much meat off one deer.
Can.
Let's have somebody get on
The
that.
more you know.
Let me see what I can do when I get home. I might bring y'all
Put me
something
up in
back.
a tree
Heck
stand
yeah.
unless we drag one off the side of the highway that was just freshly knocked over. Yeah, you're not gonna catch me in a tree.
We'll put you in a ground stand.
You put me in a ground stand?
Oh yeah, we'll put you in a ground. You ain't got to be in a tree.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah.
Eli Drinkwitz was hunting for Josh Heupel after Missouri's win over
There it
Tennessee on Saturday, and unlike most hunters, when you pick up and you maybe take a picture with the antlers, you stay a while, maybe you linger, you go find the deer after the deer is dead. Eli Drinkwitz just took a shot and then ran away.
Yeah, he did.
Didn't go look at his game whatsoever. I don't know if you guys saw this on Twitter yesterday or X, whatever it's called, when Eli Drinkwitz shook hands with Josh Heupel. He looked him in the eye for maybe a half a second and said, "We stand on business here, Josh," and then immediately walked away. The irony of saying that you stand on business and then immediately pivoting and moving away before the person you're saying you stand on business to has had a chance to respond is not lost on me.
Did Josh Heupel say something to him this year that has him in this moment?
He did not. He scored 66 on him last year, and Eli Drinkwitz was not happy that in the final minute of Tennessee's second straight win with 66 points over Missouri last season, that they were still going for the end zone with Joe Milton on the field.
Eli, it's funny. He's had a great turnaround. Let me say this first before I go anywhere else. You do what you want when you popping.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want when you win. And for the people that say have some class about it, I can say that about Drinkwitz, but you do what you want when you popping. And he felt some type of inner motivation for that game, and I get that. I know Josh Heupel has a connection. I ain't even mad at him saying it, but I'm with you on his reaction afterwards. Like, if you're going to talk that and say that, look that man in his eyes, it adds a little bit more effect on it. It's almost like throwing rocks and hide your hands, and he can run with it because he won. Josh Heupel, guess what? Answer that call again next year. That's the thing about sports. I love the beauty of it. Depending on how the quads at SEC break this up with Oklahoma and Texas coming in, you're going to get that opportunity to see him. Heck, I thought more or less this year that Eli Drinkwitz was on his way out as a head coach
We all did.
before anything else, and then he got the extension.
Right.
So I ain't mad at it. It's sports. I honestly think we need more of this in
Need more
sports.
hatred in sports.
That's
We
what-
do. You've been on
I say
that
that all the
train
time.
for a while.
That's
I'm
what
with it.
my take is, especially with college football nowadays. You're going to get a lot more parity. And so I think especially with SEC adding Texas, Oklahoma, to have this kind of chippiness between coaches and certain rivalries and certain just games, right?
Yeah.
That you maybe own one team like Tennessee did against Missouri. Now Missouri gets one back. Now the squabble between Josh Heupel and Drinkwitz continues. I'm all about that stuff. I think it's fun. I really do wonder, like, a fly on the wall off of it, if they ever call each other and like, yeah, we're good. We're all good.
I wouldn't even call him at this point. I'm going to let it fester a
And I'm
little
wondering,
bit.
does that even happen?
No.
Or is this a real, like, they really just have it out for each
I ain't
other?
going to say he started. That sounds childish. But he's put it out there for the world to see. And when you do that type of stuff, you better be Nick Saban good to back it up. That's one thing you never see Saban do. He don't talk trash. Do we?
Not really.
You don't see him talking trash. Like, he going to say some stuff to his people and just give a warning. But for Drinkwitz to use that as a tactic, I get it. I feel that. Tennessee's in Missouri's backyard all year long trying to take their recruits, too. He had to do this. Mm-hmm. Tennessee recruit the same area. All the SEC does. But it's fascinating that, I don't know, maybe it's because we cover the Vols, but the Vols find themselves on this side of rivalries and trash talk, and I feel like more than almost any other team in the SEC besides Ole Miss.
Tennessee does not play Missouri next year, which is unfortunate.
Ooh, dang.
Because that is obviously no longer SEC East versus SEC West. There is no SEC East or SEC West in 2024. So, again, a reminder that Tennessee at home next year plays Bama, Florida, Kentucky, Mississippi State, and on the road gets Arkansas, Georgia, Oklahoma, Vandy. So I wish this game would just be played again, because I think it obviously Eli Drinkwitz can say whatever he wants.
Yeah,
you just got to be ready now to be hit back when Tennessee probably scores 60 again on you the next time they see you.
Exactly.
And I feel like I was having a conversation with somebody about this last night. This is probably something that's always happened, but we have more coaches mic'd up now. And the recruiting cycle never ends for these guys, because Eli Drinkwitz knows that Jaron Sensabaugh, the kid from Innsworth who just decommitted from Vandy, who's probably between Tennessee and Missouri right now for where he's going to play college football. And guys like that, I'm using him as an example because he's local and he's between Tennessee and Missouri. Guys like that are going to see that on social media and think, oh, I want to play for that guy. He'll go stand up to Josh Heupel when he beats him. And things like that. And so you have these coaches play acting more often because they've got more mics in front of them. The thing about Eli Drinkwitz is he's been saying things like this before he's won. So my issue is not with him saying what he's saying after a win. The issue is that Eli Drinkwitz has talked like this all the time, and now he's finally winning to back it up. He's recruited well. He did a great job in the portal, and he's recruiting well this year.
He is.
Got a decent class coming. And again, I think that that's a place that has some talent. I mean, you recruit St. Louis well and just do that, you're going to be just fine.
Yes, yeah.
And Tennessee has been able to recruit out of St. Louis very well. Javonte Spraggins, their right guard, who we'll ask Jim Nagy about here in a few minutes, as an NFL prospect, is from East St. Louis. And then you got Shandavian Bradley, that's out of the state of Missouri, the 4 or 5-star, edge rusher. Who committed last year. Ramon, for people who don't understand what stand on business means, can you translate what that means?
Stand on business mean? Standing on business mean I mean what I say and I say what I mean. I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. That's like if somebody come at you, Will, and was like, hey, man, you said something about me. Oh, us on this show. Hey, man, I heard you said that I was trash. Yeah, I did. So what? That's standing on business right there.
He's standing his ground.
Yeah, he's standing his ground. But I don't know what Heupel said. That's the portion of standing on business to me.
That's why I don't understand it. Like, I understand what stand on business means. I don't understand why that applies to this situation.
He heard one of his kids say that.
It's a new Drake song. Standing on business.
There we go.
He's standing on business.
So we're that good is what he said.
How do you do, fellow kids? Like, what do we?
Oh my
do you have
like
3?
Eli? You are not that guy, pal.
Yeah. Do you have 3 of those, please? Because I'm standing on business. Like,
worry about them Bucky chompers you got in that gullet of yours, buddy.
So
Does he need braces?
Grant Ramey of VolQuest on Twitter this morning, our friend of the show, covers Tennessee, tweeted an hour ago, I've never felt older than I have while trying to figure out what stand on business means.
Standing on business. That's you staying by whatever you said. Your integrity. Your integrity is basically what it is.
That would make a good rap song. You just repeat it.
And he does.
Sure.
You know?
I think that's what the song is.
Like, well, that's a banger.
That's the point.
Yeah.
That's a banger.
Coming up, Jim Nagy of the Senior Bowl will join us. We'll talk a little bit of NFL draft. They've got a 75th anniversary team of the Reese Senior Bowl that's got a pair of former Titan offensive linemen on it that is star-studded. This thing's crazy. Of the players that have played in the Reese Senior Bowl as it celebrates 75 years this upcoming offseason. We'll get into Tennessee and Georgia with him as well, because there are a number of, obviously, Georgia NFL prospects. They're probably future Philadelphia Eagles, but a few interesting names outside of Joe Milton on Tennessee's roster that are intriguing NFL prospects as well. Jim Nagy, the Senior Bowl, joins us coming up next.
Hey, good news. The future of joint pain relief is here. It is QC Kinetics, advanced regenerative medicine, and it's amazing stuff. Hey, it's Kayla Anderson. If you've been told steroids, surgery, only options, not so fast, because you can get a second opinion and learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. I'm talking about long-lasting relief. QC Kinetics does not mask the pain. These treatments go to the very root of the problem using concentrated healing properties placed directly into your joint. So maybe you're feeling that pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulder, your back. This is no drugs, no downtime, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. It is 615-249-4024. That's QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024.
RKW is brewed by 8th and Rose right here on 104.5 The Zone. And if you miss any of the show every single morning, you can find every hour wherever you download podcasts. Apple, Spotify, Google Play, 1045thezone.com. You can also rewatch the feed on 1045 The Zone TV after it's over. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, where the show is streamed every single morning.
Twitch, please.
With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. I'm Will Bowling. I just saw a terrible joke on Twitter, and I have to share it.
Oh, please do.
It's a picture of Dua Lipa, the singer, and it's just a picture of her, and it just says, just Dua Lipa. And the quote tweet is, Italian PE teacher explaining long jump. Just Dua Lipa.
God. Just Dua Lipa. That's pretty good.
Don't laugh at that. Don't laugh at that.
The whole break.
Were you holding on to that just so close to your vest?
Just Dua Lipa.
Oh, goodness. I do kind of like it.
Be better.
Dua
See, that's what's happening to your algorithm now. Now you're getting all this Italian stuff introduced with the Sopranos.
Accents.
Wow.
Just Dua Lipa.
See?
No, it's not
See?
funnier if you do
like
it again.
I
You
just had
like
to
it.
say it out loud because it gave me a chuckle. It did.
But you
I
can't say it
shouldn't.
without saying
Just Dua Lipa. What are you doing?
I can't wait to Lipa into this Jim Nagy interview. Y'all stop being like that.
Coming up in
Let's leap into
2
it.
minutes. Some other breaking news this morning. MLB owners have just unanimously voted to move the Oakland A's to Las Vegas.
There you go.
So it is official.
Is it
The Las
really?
Vegas Athletics.
It's the most known thing that was going to happen, wasn't it?
Yeah, the mayor and local government still did their best to keep the team.
Yeah.
And ultimately the stadium where possums also live, not just with Robert Walsh.
Right now.
Yeah. Now they have a permanent home
They do.
all to themselves.
Did you guys watch it all, the Netflix Cup, by the way, speaking of
I
Vegas?
did. I
the
watched
other
it
night?
last night.
No.
So this was
pretty funny.
Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris with Tony Finau and Jordan Spieth. And then
And
Justin
Ricky.
Thomas was there too.
And Ricky Fowler.
Ricky Fowler. And it was F1 and golf.
Mm-hmm.
And they would have like races to see who could put the ball in the hole first on a par 3. And they would like all tee off at the same time.
Yeah.
Kind of electric.
It's at the Wynn Golf Course.
Yeah, that big sphere is right there looking at you.
Yeah.
Did they put the eyeball on it
They
again?
they put the smiley face.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it was
Okay.
like changing
I think it's
faces
creepy.
all the time. It's very creepy.
See where they're losing money with that thing too?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
guy's like bankrupt or something.
Yeah, he can't. The advertising on that big sphere is not selling as quick as they thought it would. 100,000 for a week. I mean, if you're a company that got that, that ain't bad. I ain't think, but you gotta be that type of company.
100,000 for a week.
It's
Damn.
crazy. They're like, yeah, it's pretty wild.
Still not as bad as the Super Bowl ad.
No,
Millions.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I guess the thing with the Vegas sphere is it's only local though too, unless you're putting it up on social media across, and unless Prime is in Vegas, to where it can go out, somewhere nationally.
They have so many things that come there, though, that you would think you could incorporate that, right? Because
Yeah.
there's so many things that happen there now.
You would
It's
think.
just a hub of entertainment.
Yep,
Crazy.
it is.
But yeah, Netflix's first live sporting event. Interested to see how much they dive into live
Me
events. And Netflix is starting to corner the market on sports documentaries, and pretty much all of them except the Florida one have been outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're taking these, docu-series, all-access films and documentaries and series like Drive to Survive and Full Swing and Break Point, and they're putting those stars together in like live events like that. I love that for golf.
I think it's really good for the game, for sure. And they have like celebrities there. Marshawn Lynch was like doing stuff,
Oh yeah,
like interviews, and he's just hilarious.
We'll get back to the football conversation now with our good friend Jim Nagy, the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl, kind enough to join us this morning. Jim, what's up? How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back on in Nashville. I love it.
Absolutely. And Jim, you guys have put out the Senior Bowl 75th anniversary team in partnership with the NFLPA. This lineup is unbelievable. You got 19 Pro Football Hall of Famers, 8 NFL MVPs, Kevin Mawai, Steve Hutchinson, the guys with Titans ties in there. I mean, this is an unbelievable list. And as you guys put this together, what kind of stood out the most about this collection of players, Jim?
Man, what stood out the most? Just how great this game has been for a long, long time. I've only been here 6 years. I've been coming to the Senior Bowl in a scouting capacity for 25 years. I think this will be my 25th year coming to the game. But no, just the overall greatness of what this game is, and the history of our game means everything to us. So to have a 75th year like this to really celebrate that, our history and honor these great players first and foremost is a cool opportunity. And it would be it'd be one thing to name a team and just announce that, but the great thing is the NFLPA reached out to us over the summer and wanted to partner in some sort of way because they had an all-star game that they canceled after 12 years, and they wanted to have an avenue to connect with, kind of their future constituency. So they wanted to align with us, and we started talking about this 75th celebration, and they wanted to be a part of that as well. So now we have the resources to bring all these 41 players back to Mobile for game week. So we're going to do that. It's going to really ratchet up the star power of the week. And really the most fun part of this whole thing for me, very selfishly, is that I've had a chance to connect with all these players. And a lot of them are my contemporaries, guys that are my age. A lot of them I scouted when I was in the NFL. So I know a lot of them. But the coolest one was Thurman Thomas, because Thurman's a little bit older than me. I was probably in grade school when Thurman was doing his thing for Buffalo. So when we spoke the other day, it was one of those moments for me. I had to pinch myself, like the 10-year-old version of myself would have been freaking out talking to Thurman Thomas. So so that was pretty cool. But yeah, the vote was great. We had all 32 GMs take part in the vote. We did a big fan vote online, so it's really been fun announcing it and seeing the schools and the different teams get on board and do some stuff with it. It's been a lot of fun.
Jim Nagy for the Reese's Senior Bowl, our guest. And Jim, I know that is probably a hard question to answer from your perspective on what stands out the most with a list of so many excellent players. And Jim, here locally, Titans fans, as things have trended in a negative direction this season, they're starting to look at the tackle class and left tackle and offensive line as we look ahead to this upcoming draft and the college prospects that are finishing up their seasons over these next couple of weeks. And Jim, let's just start there. How good of a tackle class is this as you look at the offensive linemen coming out for this year's draft?
Yeah, it's really good. It's the best it's been in a few years. So it's a good year to need one. I'll put it that way. I'm staring at the board right now, and we have 8 guys that we feel like will be, at solid starter to elite starting left tackles in the league. That's left tackles. We've got another column for right tackles, but so yeah, really deep class. It's good on the interior as well. Like if you need offensive line help, this is a good year for you.
Yeah, and that's where I wanted to go, Jim. Welcome back to the show, man. Glad you are great hostess with the Moses earlier this year and everything, man. We appreciate that, Jim. And I just have to go first, man, and ask this one. Cedric Van Pran, the center from Georgia. Big-time guy, man, and I saw he made your mid-season All-American team. Any more information on a guy like him?
Yeah, he's a starting center in the league, like slam dunk. He's played a ton of football there in the SEC. I mean, he's a bigger guy. He's 6'4", 315. So for a lot of centers are 6'1", 6'2"ish. This is a big man in there. He takes up space. He's good protecting those A gaps. He's got a really good brain on him. You guys might have interviewed him at SEC Media Days. So he's good on the mental part. He'll be able to step right in and handle that. So you're talking about, I don't use this might be the first time I've ever used the term plug and play. I don't love that term, but he is a guy that you're going to be able to draft and stick in there at the center spot, for a couple contracts and get 7-8 really good years out of him.
And I could easily go tackle too as far as the Titans is concerned, but I want to stick right there with Cedric Van Pran for this reasons right here, man. If given the opportunity, is a guy like him at center, because interior guys don't get the same prestige more times than not than the tackles do. Is he a first-round center type of guy that you say, I feel safe about drafting a guy like him if he's going to give me 10 years?
Yeah, I get the question. I would say no to that. And I like Cedric a lot as a player. Nobody's taken centers up that high. I mean, it's very rare. We had Creed Humphrey in the Senior Bowl a couple of years ago, and he went like 60th overall to the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, were there 60 better football players in that draft? Not even close. Were there 10 better players than Creed Humphrey? I mean, the guy was, I think he was first team All-Pro last year. So it's just one of those positions, and I don't understand why. I think it's a really valuable position, especially when you got a guy that can help out the quarterback mentally and take some stuff off his plate that way. I think it's a really important position. But most of those guys, the first ones usually start coming off in the middle of the second round. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if the Titans wanted to double down, they could go tackle in one. I don't know where they're picking, but they could go tackle early and then double back in the second or the third and get a guy like Van Pran that could start at center.
Jim Nagy, Executive Director of the Reese Senior Bowl, joins us now on RKW. Jim, the other position I think the Titans are already kind of starting to look at, unfortunately, they have not had so much success drafting at cornerback. Now, I know Christian Fulton, he's had some growth this year, but if he gets re-signed, I don't know. Caleb Farley, obviously dealing with all the stuff he's dealt with. How deep is this corner class, or who do you feel like you see that sticks out?
It is a good corner class. I've heard good things about our guy Roger McCreary up there. I know he had a pick a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
I've heard he's doing. They just got to draft Senior Bowl corners, and they'll be doing all right. No, it's a good It is a good corner class. It really is, and there's there's a lot of guys like Roger in the sense that there's a lot of nickel-sized guys. Like if you needed a nickel, and I don't think you guys do because Roger can do that. Right. It's a really good year to need nickels. Outside, there is a good group of bigger corners in this class, but they're more developmental. They're not really ready to get on the field right away and play. So there's really, like that fourth, fifth round, I think you'll see a lot of bigger corners going off there. But a lot of the best football players are kind of like, in the 5'11" range, I'm just coming from the Seattle Seahawks where we liked our guys like 6'1", 6'2". That's kind of how I think of outside. That's how I think of outside corners still. But it is a good class. To be long-winded and answer your question, there's going to be some juniors, which we can now have in the Senior Bowl, that will really make this year's class, if they all come out, a really good class.
And that's what I was going to segue to, Jim. You guys are announced just recently that you are adding seniors or juniors to the Senior Bowl roster. How cool was that for you guys to be able to expand that way, and what does that do for this game?
It was huge. It was huge. The 32 teams have been pushing for this for a long, long time. And I think the league office was always a little resistant. I don't think they really wanted to upset the apple cart that is the free feeder system of college football. And again, I don't want to speak for anyone and why the decisions were made, but I mean, college football, there's a lot going on right now. Portal and NIL, I don't need to tell you guys everyone's quite aware of the chaotic nature of college football right now. So I think the bottom line is that in All-Star Invite, as much nobody promotes the Senior Bowl more, believes in the Senior Bowl more than me, but these guys aren't leaving college just to get a Senior Bowl invite. So I think that's where what it came down to. So it is a game changer for us. We've averaged about 40 of the top 100 players over the last 3 or 4 years, like 40, 41. And then the rest of those guys are like, we probably have about 5 seniors a year that tell us no and decline the invite. And then, so the other 55 guys in the top 100 are all juniors. And now will we get all of those guys? No, there's probably, 15, 20 guys that think they're locked top half of the first round and they want to sit it out. But I still think we're going to get 30 or 40 more juniors in the top 100 here. And that's just going to ratchet up the star power more than it's been. So it's something we're really excited about.
Jim Nagy, our guest for the Reese's Senior Bowl. Jim, when you look at this Tennessee roster, a number of intriguing prospects for them, not named Joe Milton, obviously his arm strength and talent is well documented, but specifically in the offensive line, when you talk about guys like Javonte Spraggins and Cooper Mays, you got John Campbell, the big tackle. Are those the guys that catch your eye first when you look at Vols prospects specifically? Or if not, who else do you feel like has an intriguing and promising future at the next level?
Well, I would throw Gerald Mincey in there too.
Sure.
He's the guy the NFL is going to look at as well. So it'll be interesting to see what NIL does to that offensive line. I think they're going to be able to get some of those guys back. And that's something that's made this job more difficult over the last couple of years. It's really more of a fluid invite process. We used to really feel good about our roster being locked up around December 10th. And now with NIL, I mean, we get guys accept invites, and then coaches will gather up with their collectives after the season and get money to bring these guys back. So, the one guy we were really excited about to get down here to Mobile this year was Brew McCoy. Before that injury, he was a guy we would have invited and loved to have had down here. So, but yeah, I think you start with that offensive line, and then like Tyler Barron on the defensive line is a guy that a lot of teams are interested in. But yeah, you brought up Joe Milton's name. I mean, I think you start with him.
How much of a setup is the Senior Bowl to what the Combine provides also? Coaches tell you, like, yes, I love the on-field because anybody can look good, running a 40 or catching the ball or not having a defender in front of them, in a pass rush.
Yeah, Ramon, I mean, again, I'm in a little bit of a biased chair right now, but I say this going back to my time in the NFL. I just look back at the mistakes I made personally and the mistakes the teams I worked for made, and it was a lot of the times we put too much stock into what happened at the Combine and didn't focus on actual football. And that's my selling point to these guys. I mean, not all these guys. Like, there's a junior wide receiver right now I'm talking to some agents about, and they don't think he's going to run well. And I'm like, well, send him to the Senior Bowl. Let him do what he does really well, and that's play football. And then if he's not going to run a really fast 40 time, I mean, that's on you guys to figure out however you want to handle the. I don't think you need to run a 40 these days. I think you put it on the teams and make them double down on what they saw on the tape. That's what I would do if I were an agent. But yeah, the football part's really important. And I think, another selling point for us with these players is you come to Mobile, you make these relationships now, you get a lot of the psychological testing out of the way, you get a lot of the interviews out of the way. It really just clears your plate for the Combine. So if you are going to go there and do all your testing, well, then you can really just focus on the testing. So we knock a lot of that stuff out of the way here in Mobile. And I think the players like it because I've talked to the guys that do go to the Combine after our event, and they were like, man, compared to the guys that didn't go to the Senior Bowl, like I had nothing to do up there. So it was great. So yeah, certainly the football aspect, real football for us is a selling point.
He is Jim Nagy, the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl, joining us here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Jim, thank you for always making us smarter. It is a good time of year if we get to talk to you and get to talk some NFL draft and college football. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. And if we don't talk between now and then, have an awesome Thanksgiving, guys.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks,
you too.
Jim.
Thanks so much. It's Jim Nagy.
He's the best.
I see that guy everywhere.
He is on every show.
Yeah.
He's on Good Morning Football yesterday.
Yeah. Talk about somebody who knows how to market their game
Yeah.
and do it the right way. Like, I give kudos to that guy, Jim Nagy, and his staff. They do an incredible job.
They do.
615-737-1045. We'll get to Eric on the phone lines when we come back and rehash a little bit of what Jim had to say about Vols prospects specifically. Thought that was interesting. Coming up next. RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. Coming up in hour number 4, we'll hear from Arden Key as he prepares for his former team. Conversation he had with reporters, including our own Kayla Anderson in the locker room yesterday before Andy Staples stops by at 9:20. 615-737-1045 is our number. We go back to the phones where Eric is with us from Idaho this morning. What's up, Eric?
Morning, guys. How's it going?
Great.
Good. What part of Idaho are you in?
Kind of north central. I'm like 5 hours north of Boise.
Okay, gotcha.
Nice.
Yeah. Wanted to talk about Mike Vrabel, man. He's getting so much heat, and no one's talking about John Robinson. You know, these previous draft class haven't been working out really. You know, you go 2 first rounds in a row. Caleb Farley hasn't really worked out, and Isaiah Wilson didn't last a season. And everyone wants to throw Vrabel on the bus, but it's like he's working with John Robinson's rosters, and so he's trying to. There's repercussions from these bad draft class, so I don't think Vrabel's the issue. I think he's trying to mend something that was kind of thrown at him, and you know, it pisses me off. A.J. Brown, I mean, look at him, man. He's tearing it up right now. How do we get rid of that guy? I mean, I blame John Robinson totally.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Eric.
I'm on Eric's side, and I've said that several times. If you're gonna, and I hate just blaming one person. It is not one person, but there's a big amount of blame that goes to John because of now the predicament they're in, and a lot of that was really just not hitting on full draft classes, but especially just early round picks, first round picks. Those are your money makers, guys. Those are the staple of building teams. We see it every year. And he wasn't able to do that because he swung and missed too many times.
Yeah. That's essentially what it is. The swing and miss is why you are where you are right now. It is. I said this, and this is just my personal opinion behind this. I think John Robinson was a little bit too close to the sun to be managing and got too comfortable with his methods of finding injured guys. Like Jeffrey Simmons was a once eight-year type of draft pick that you go after and get. Like, just because you drafted him in an injury position trying to get that low-value, high-output response, again, you can't draft that way. You can't draft with emotion. You can't trade with emotions. You got to do your job and really look at where the team is. And I ain't said John Robinson is not a bad person whatsoever, but the decisions that he made down the stretch after that 2019 run was a little bit problematic. It was. And when you miss on those in the trenches guys and those first rounders, and you make the mistakes of signing everybody else's free agents, this is why you are where you are right now. I will agree with that. I will.
The only thing I disagree with is the fact that people aren't talking about it. I feel like John Robinson gets a ton of heat.
Especially the last 2 weeks.
For those decisions. Especially the draft decisions. It just, this team's trying to overcome a lot of draft misses.
Big misses.
At important positions.
Yeah.
Something Jim Nagy said with us a few minutes ago I thought was interesting. Talking about Tennessee's offensive line, and Ramon, you can speak more to just the overall prospects that the Vols have with NFL futures up front. Interesting that he thinks a lot of those guys are going to be back next year.
With the way NIL works, with them having, I think this is the last cycle or maybe one more cycle of COVID year seniors, I absolutely would. If I had a 5th round grade, a 6th, 7th round grade, I'm going to push it for one more, especially if I can get a little coin in college.
Which Tennessee offensive lineman has the best NFL future?
Left tackle. For sure.
John Campbell?
John Campbell.
Interesting.
I think so. He moves well. I'm having sights of what I saw in Darnell. Not like first round top 10 dude, but I'm saying he's athletic, he's big, he's moved well, he got a mean streak in him. Oh my God, he got a mean streak in him. Those types of things right there are what teams are clamoring over right now because O-line play is so bad. He moves very fluid for a big dude. He does. John Campbell is the guy I'm going after.
Cooper Mays and Javonte Spraggins, the other ones who you feel like have futures at the next level. Cooper Mays was asked about coming back for a senior season earlier this week by media and essentially said he hadn't thought about it. And the decision hadn't been made yet. I think that's the guy that if Tennessee can get him back as a senior next year, you feel really good about the interior of your offensive line.
I agree with you on that one. And Cooper's good to me. I thought Spraggin was going to have a way better year than he's having. It was the conversation earlier this year that he'd end up being a first-round type of guy. I don't think he's in that conversation. If I'm him, I take a strong look at coming back for this 2024 season.
Mm-hmm. It is crazy how we're going to see that change a little bit. Just guys deciding, hey, one more year, get some money in my pocket, make for better college football.
And become a bigger legend, if we're being honest.
Spraggins does have 1 year left that he could take. He is a senior, but he could take the 5th year.
Unless he's got a 4th round or better, I'm coming back.
That'd be big for a freshman quarterback next year.
And it's easy for me to say that, though, too.
And Tennessee's got 3 games left, so obviously not a, not time to talk off-season Vols yet. Yeah. But interesting with that. Also, East St. Louis is in Illinois.
Yeah.
I said it was St. Louis earlier. It's Illinois.
And before we move on, little tidbit for you guys. When I was learning the states and their capitals, we had a caller from Idaho. The way I'll always remember Boise as the capital of Idaho is a little trinket my mom gave me was if Idaho, Boise no like me.
Oh, that's a good one.
You'll never forget it.
Wow.
I like that.
That's a fascinating way to look at
That's
it.
pretty legit right there.
Wow.
Fascinating way to look
Just
at
do a
it.
leap. 615-737-1045. We'll hear what Arden Key had to say inside the Titans locker room yesterday, talking about going up against his former team and a game this upcoming weekend where the Titans could use a Danico Autry 2.0 performance when he went back to Indy last year. I'd sign up for that. Sign up for Arden Key to begin hour 4 coming up next. You deserve all the comforts of home, including endless hot water at your fingertips. What's going on? It's Will Bowling here from my friends at League Company. Tankless water heaters powered by new recirculation systems save energy, money, time, and space. At League Company, they got a great deal for you right now. Listen to this. A limited time offer of $750 off a tankless water heater when you purchase a recirculation system. And to make the heater even sweeter, qualified buyers receive 18 months of 0% financing. You can take advantage of this offer today. Call my friends at League Company at 615-567-1000. And look, endless hot water at your fingertips becomes much more important when the weather is getting down in the 30s. Pretty soon, it's going to be even colder than that here in Middle Tennessee. So take advantage of this limited time offer today and get $750 off a tankless water heater by going to leaguecompany.com/promotions or giving them a call at 615-567-1000. Online at leaguecompany.com. That's League Company, all you need.
What's going on? 9 o'clock. Good morning on a Thursday from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Titans injury report from yesterday. Andre Dillard and Traylon Burks both remain out with concussion. Sean Murphy-Bunting and Daniel Brunskill were limited. On the Jag side, Jamal Agnew did not practice with a shoulder injury, and cornerback Tyson Campbell was out with a bum hamstring. Titans made a roster move yesterday, picking up offensive lineman Calvin Throckmorton, who has started over 40 games in 3 years for the Saints and the Panthers. Conversely, putting linebacker Chance Campbell on injured reserve. And tonight for Thursday Night Football, Ravens and Bengals kick off at 7:15 on Amazon Prime or right here on 104.5 The Zone. Both teams a little beat up coming off losses from Sunday. Ravens have ruled out left tackle Ronnie Stanley and labeled Marlon Humphrey as doubtful. Bengals will be without wide receiver T. Higgins and defensive end Sam Hubbard. Trey Hendrickson has practiced with no injury designation the last 2 days after hyperextending his knee on Sunday versus the Texans. He looks like a green light go for the game tonight. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
And the show goes on for 60 more minutes on your Thursday morning. It is RKW brewed by 8th and Roast with Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, featuring the musical stylings of Robert F. Walsh. My name is Will Bowling, 615-737-1045, the number, and streaming live on 1045 The Zone TV. You can watch the show right there on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch.
Twitch, please.
And in 20 minutes, Andy Staples of On3 joins us. He'll give us the best fits for Texas A&M and Mississippi State's head coaching openings and tell us why Georgia was able to bludgeon Ole Miss so much. Was it as simple as they just decided they wanted to play Georgia football and not, everyone else's football?
That's probably
this past Saturday.
Yeah, that's definitely it.
So, always looking forward to catch up with Andy.
Andy's always good, man. He's got a lot of information. He covers one end of the country to the other, man.
Yeah.
It's super fascinating to watch him do work and actually be in this space now with On3. I'm excited for him. I love seeing people win like that.
Yeah, On3 does such great stuff. I get so much of my college info from them.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
they're pretty solid, Kayla. They do a real thorough job of coverage. So Andy's got a lot, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to say for this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to the phones where Marcellus is in Murfreesboro, 615-737-1045. What's up, Marcellus?
Hey, what's going on, y'all? How y'all doing this morning?
Good morning.
Good. So I just wanted to say I agree with the last caller. It is John Robinson's fault, of course. But also I want to ask, what do you guys think about, is COVID still affecting our players or college players? Is that draft over? Where a lot of players set out like Caleb Farley. And I wouldn't have drafted anybody who personally set out for whatever reason, if it wasn't already injury. But I don't know those facts. And another thing, if you're not working with a lot of talent, like we're not, why would you not go for it on 4th and 2 if we're at our own 48 and Levis was already cooking? Why would you not give him a chance? And then also you try to attempt a field goal, and they already said he was missing them terribly doing warm-ups.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Marcellus. I do think the COVID effects are going to last through the careers of a lot of those players, because I do think teams like the Titans and I would even say the Patriots as well, maybe some of the more old-fashioned, I want to look a guy in the eye and know if he loves football kind of teams, maybe didn't fare quite as well in that draft.
I think you're right.
I still think that was the downfall of John Robinson, is that this organization didn't adapt well enough to a very different way of drafting and evaluating college prospects.
Yeah.
The devil's advocate, though, to not drafting guys that sat out, Micah Parsons and Jamar Chase sat out for the COVID season.
That's true. And then Bosa
They're
also
solid.
sit out a good bit, too.
I think he did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
But the evaluation of what they were actually looking for in that time span, that 2020, and also got to throw in 2021 also, is something that has to be revisited. But, scouting departments and coaches and front offices have to reevaluate themselves. I'm hoping, of course, with the firing of John Robinson and with this new regime coming in, that this time around, this second cycle of watching Rand and Vrabel come together with the scouting department, with what they're looking for, what's a Titans type, has to be of the conversation. It has to be the biggest question they have. What is a Titans type? And, yes, it may be some struggle added into that, right? And when you look at, like you said, Marcellus, the talent and what you have with what happened in Tampa, going for it on 4th and 2. You don't get it. You give Tampa, who was actually starting to cook a little bit more in those moments, easier pathway to running the score up on you even more. That short field stuff matters a lot. If you were at your own 48 and you give the ball up in that moment right there, that's points automatically. Their kicker was doing pretty good, Tampa's that was throughout that course of that game. So I'm into playing the field positioning. When you're on the road like that, I will always play that game too. 4th and 2 is that's 6 feet. That's still a long way to go, and you are not having the best day of offensively for yourself too. I'm not willing to play that game on the road.
It is interesting, too, when you look at the Titans offense and some of the decisions they make. James Foster at No Flags Film on Twitter, high school classmate of mine who works with A to Z Sports as a film analyst covering the NFL, tweeted this out from Sports Info Solutions, SIS on Twitter, that's got good analytics and next-level stats about passing offenses by drop type. It tells you everything you need to know about the lack of confidence the Titans have in their offensive line. The Titans throw more screens than any team in the National Football League. 7% of their drop types in their passing offense are screens. Conversely, the Titans have the, I think, 4th or 5th fewest amount of 5-step drops in the National Football League this season. Just 10.7% of what the Titans are doing to drop back in the pocket are 5-step drops. It's remarkably low. The only teams that are lower than that, Carolina, Jacksonville, New York Giants, and Miami Dolphins. And you think about what all those teams have in common. They've got quarterbacks that have quick releases and are quickly getting the ball out of their hands to dynamic playmakers in space.
That is a great stat line by your friend. That is something right
Yeah,
there
that's
that can be
interesting.
used right there because, well, here we go, too. To use it against the Titans is if you're not going to get to the quarterback, then guess what you got to do? Get your hands up quickly or look side to side because they're going to throw a screen or something quick to the outside. Also is this, when they do have to be dropping back for a long amount of time, you're probably going to get to the quarterback because they don't trust the protection of the guys up front.
Right.
That plays so hand in hand. Tell your dude, put that information away.
I know. Well, it just shows you the lack of confidence you have in this offense to not have a disaster happen.
All right.
And free shout out to him, man. He does
He
a
crushes
film
it.
breakdown just about every day. He puts out a new video. The last 2 videos he put out for A to Z Film Room on Trey McBride, his breakout in the middle of the year, and safety for the Vikings, Cameron Bynum, will just make you smarter for watching it. Go check out A to Z Film Room.
At No Flags Film on Twitter, where you can follow James. Does a really good job.
And just to follow it up for the people say, well, Miami doesn't drop back as far as us. Well, you don't have Miami skilled players or offensive coordinator,
Right.
too.
Yeah, Miami has more one-step drops than anyone else in the NFL at 46.3% of what they do.
Because they're getting the ball to the athletes with Tyreek. And
One-step
Waddle.
Tyreek.
Yeah.
One-step Waddle. Crazy. One-step A-Chain, who's back this week.
Yeah.
Arden Key spoke yesterday in the locker room as we continue our Q's and K's this morning. And, Kayla, there was quite a scrum around him as media gets the conversation with the former Jacksonville Jaguar.
Not only a scrum around him, but a scrum around the tweet that went out because Jags fans got right on that right away with something specific you're going to hear from him. And it's been a heyday looking at these tweets.
So here he is, Arden Key, stirring the people up down there in Central Florida.
A lot more R&B just to keep the energy, just to keep it contained until the game time. But that's probably the only thing that changed. Just a lot more R&B just to keep my energy at a good pace until game time.
That's what I was gonna say. Is it hard to balance that sometimes when you are so hyped to take on a former team
Yeah,
like that?
yeah, especially this week. I'm just trying to keep it the same, not change too much on the energy type. But I mean, everybody know who played their old team know the type of energy that those guys kind of bring, and that's what I'm bringing this
With
week.
that, how much of an advantage do you feel like you have knowing some of the personnel there, and specifically with Trevor Lawrence, just how much he's grown?
Yeah, he's grown tremendously. But I realized, being there, if we could take away his first read, then the rest are allowed to get there and things of that sort. They get the ball out fast. With the first read there, he's throwing it right there, right now. If it's not, then you see the kind of hesitation, things of that sort. So we know and realize that we got to take away the first read, so we're able to get to him.
How would you describe the
prepare for an offense that has so many weapons?
It's tough. It's tough. But I mean, Trevor Lawrence run the show. I mean, if we can get him rattled a lot, then a lot of those throws that he makes, he won't be able to make it.
Fans did not like the one read Trevor Lawrence comment.
That's what they're 6-3 with the one read concept though too. I don't know what their fans are mad about, Caleb, because that's silly to me that they're going to push back on that. If it's one read and it's working, you give it to him.
He was a zero read quarterback with Urban Meyer.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yep.
good. What are they actually looking for out of him saying, yeah, he's a one read? And here's the other pro tip too that Arden gave is everybody probably knows that, and nobody's been able to really stop it.
Exactly. Niners last week.
Yeah,
They did stop it, right?
Yeah. A one-off of what he does. Okay, cool. If it's a copycat league, I want to see this Titans team do exactly what the what the 49ers did too. Yeah. That's silly. That's such a Jacksonville mindset almost.
Let's get to Dave in Mount Juliet before we get to Andy Staples on the other side. What's up, Dave?
Hey, guys. How are y'all this morning?
Good.
Thanks
Good
for
morning.
taking my call.
Absolutely.
You there?
Yes,
Yeah.
we're
We got
waiting
you.
on you, Dave.
Hey, yes, sir. Y'all may have talked about this, but Titans have been a bad offensive line now for 3 years, correct, at least?
Yeah.
And do we have the same coach now for 3 years?
The
No.
line coach, you mean?
Jason Hoteling is the new offensive line coach in his first year this year.
First year. Okay, then. Well, maybe he can get this taken care of. I did not know that because we are not getting better. We're getting worse. And I know we've got injuries again, but it seems like that, you want to see progress, and we're not seeing that. So, just my opinion on it. I just wondered what y'all thought.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
He was promoted from assistant last year.
Yeah, Keith Carter's up in New York, where the Jets are having pretty much as many line issues as the Titans are.
Mm-hmm.
They are.
Not working up there either.
615-737-1045. The number coming up. Andy Staples of On 3 makes us smarter about college football. Coming up next. RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone with the whole crew in studio. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling with you. Joined now on the phones by our good friend Andy Staples of On3 talking college football. What's up, Andy? How are you?
What's up, Will? How are we doing?
We are good, and man, I don't even know where to begin because we've got coaching carousel, we've got Michigan, we've got Tennessee, Georgia. Let's start, Andy, with why was Georgia able to just bludgeon Ole Miss on Saturday? Was this as simple as them just deciding to beat Georgia again?
No, I mean, they had Brock Bowers back, and having your best player
that helps
where you didn't have him before tends to help. But I mean, that's the first time we've seen Georgia's offense with Brock Bowers and a healthy Ladd McConkey and a healthy Kendall Milton. And, oh, by the way, they also got Amarius Mims, their starting right tackle back. So when you add, two surefire NFL players, probably, Brock Bowers' first-round pick, Amarius Mims is maybe a first or second-round pick. Like, when you add that back, you do suddenly get a lot better. And so this is one of those where that offense, we hadn't really seen it operating at maximum capacity. I think we're starting to see it now. And it's pretty scary because it's better than the Georgia offense of the past couple of years. Now, their defense is not as good as it was, but the offense is better. And, if they play like that, I don't know if there's anybody who can beat them.
And they've got a chance to now run the football well against a Tennessee defense this weekend that was stopping the run pretty well until Cody Schrader had a 2009 Dexter McCluster against Tennessee kind of performance over the weekend in Como. Were you surprised at how terrible Tennessee's run defense was against Missouri?
No, because Cody Schrader ran for over 100 yards against Georgia. If you can do that against Georgia, you can run for 1 million yards against everybody else. So, that's – and Missouri's good. That's all there is to it. It's, you go back, they probably – kicking themselves over the way they lost to LSU because they should have gotten, if they could have gotten one more stop, they probably win that game. But they are very well put together. They love that outside zone, which we'll have Ramon explain exactly what outside zone is to the listeners. That's like 2 segments worth. But it's its own thing, and if you're really good at it, it is very tough to stop.
Andy Staples with us this morning of On3. And Andy, that's what, you mentioned Georgia being more scary offensively than they were last year. Heck, watching the 2 teams in the SEC do their thing, Alabama and Georgia right now, sounds to be set up for the SEC championship. But the amount of recruiting to get to this point to where you have a quarterback controversy early in the year like Bama did, or trying to figure out if a new quarterback and Carson Beck is going to be your guy to lead you into the future. How much of this recruiting has led to where these 2 programs are?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, Alabama, you knew if they ever figured out how to make the offense click, they were going to be fine because they still had the most talented roster in America based on, you look at the recruiting rankings. And Georgia, obviously, is right there, too. So they're basically 1 and 1A in terms of who brings in the most talent. So that makes all of that a little easier. Now, with Georgia, the quarterback decision, I think they felt like it was pretty easy. Like, Kirby's been a Carson Beck guy the whole time. He's not doubted him one bit. You hear the interviews, and Kirby always says, well, I don't know, you guys had questions about him. I never had any questions about him. And I think you're seeing why. Is Kirby knew that once the pieces were in place, Carson Beck was going to look really good. But Alabama was a totally different story. Alabama was, you had a new offensive coordinator. You didn't know what Jalen Milroe would be necessarily as the starter. And I think early in the season, they called that offense, Tommy Reese, the new OC, called that offense like you'd call it for Jalen Milroe or Ty Simpson or Tyler Buckner, like any quarterback, instead of calling it for Jalen Milroe. And then after that USF game where they played Ty Simpson and Tyler Buckner, we're basically like, see, we've been trying to tell you they're not that good. And now you know they're not that good, so we're going to go back to Jalen. And then they went back to Jalen and built the offense around him, and all of a sudden everything works.
Crazy how that goes, man. And so let's go here, too, because I feel like when Nick Saban and Urban Meyer came into the SEC, it reshaped what SEC play was. Coaches got fired behind that, right? The pressure to perform became that much more escalated. And now I almost think we got to look at NIL and transfer portal being that same pressure being added to what Jimbo's just experienced and being fired, and also with Mississippi State. How much has changed with the expectation of this college football playoffs, the transfer portal, and NIL to the performance of coaches on the field, and how short of a leash they have moving forward?
Well, I don't think that changed anything for the coaches in terms of expectation. I think it's what you said first. It's what Nick Saban and Urban Meyer did, where the expectation at certain programs became a national championship or nothing. And that's why you see Florida cycling through coaches. That's why LSU has cycled through coaches. That's why, all of these schools have a quick trigger, it feels like, because you're competing against Kirby Smart and Nick Saban. And, that may be an unfair fight. It may be that they're just that much better. But it's not going to stop Florida, Tennessee, Auburn, LSU, Texas A&M from trying. Like, they're going to keep trying. I don't think the NIL, you could, if you hadn't changed the rules at all, that expectation would still be there. And until some other league starts winning national titles more regularly and people in the SEC are like, oh, okay, maybe the SEC champ isn't going to win the national title every year, then you might see a change. But until that happens, it's going to be like this.
And just to follow it up, how realistic is that for fan bases, for front office administrations, athletic directors, that it's, like you said, national championship or bust? Like, that ain't how to operate when you're talking about wins and losses and stacking up, organization to be good. Or how do you convince recruits that, hey, everybody can't go to Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State? Like, what do you do? How realistic is it to compete?
It's not realistic at all.
Okay.
It's not realistic at all, but it is what it is. Like, you can't go to an Auburn fan and say, you know what, you guys are pretty good, but let's be real here. Alabama has the best coach in the history of the sport, and Georgia might have the next one. And you got to play them every year, and that sucks for you, but it just may not be your decade or your half of this millennium. Auburn fans aren't going to accept that. They're going to, hell no, we want to compete. Same for Tennessee fans. Like, they're not going to just be like, well, I guess we're only going to win 9 or 10 games every year in our good years. It's just not going to happen. Like, the wiring in the SEC doesn't work that way. I try to explain to people, like, people look at the Ricky Bobby thing as a joke. I mean, even Ricky Bobby's dad goes, hell, I was drunk when I said that. But the truth of the matter is, if you ain't first, you're last.
Yeah, you said it right there, Andy. I'm sorry, that quote just got me going this morning. Andy Staples of On3 joining us on RKW. So, Andy, you're looking at the college football playoff. You just saw the new rankings come out. Georgia leaping Ohio State this time at number 1. You got Ohio State, Florida State, Michigan. Do you see at some point when Michigan and Ohio State face each other and one of those have to be a one-loss team, and you see, let's say, UW win out, can you see a scenario that they would still keep a one-loss Ohio State or Michigan over a Pac-12 opponent or one of these guys on the outside looking in right now?
If Washington's undefeated, they're in.
Okay.
If Florida State's undefeated, they're in.
Okay.
Like, they're not putting a one-loss team over the one of those two if they're undefeated. Now, let's say Washington loses to Oregon State this weekend and then goes on and beats Oregon again and wins the Pac-12. That would be a different story. That one, then you're going to get an eye test, and my guess is if Georgia's lost to Alabama or if it's Ohio State and they lost a really close one to Michigan, you may get eye tested out of there.
Oof. Yeah, I'm interested to see how this all plays out. We got some big college football this weekend. Andy, when it comes to your Heisman favorite right now, look, I've loved what Michael Penix Jr. has done. I love what Bo Nix has done. But, right here in the SEC, despite the team's losses, Jayden Daniels has been spectacular. How much has he not necessarily surprised you, but being able to do that with maybe a team that has no defensive power?
Well, he doesn't take the field with the defense, so it doesn't matter. He has two of the best receivers in the country, in Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. So he's got that, but he's also under this pressure. This is sort of like what Caleb Williams had to deal with last year and this year. But, It helped Caleb compile the stats he needed to win the Heisman last year.
True.
Jaden has been put in positions where he has no choice but to gain all these yards, throw for all these yards, score all these points, or they won't win. Like, I don't know if they would have beaten Florida last week if Garrett Nussmeier had started. So it's a necessity for him because that defense is so bad. But I'm telling you, Jaden Daniels is going to win the Heisman. I realize everybody's got to talk about it and have a take, and you want to have something that's different. When everybody does the blind resume thing, it's going to be a joke. Like, Jaden Daniels is going to be so much better than everybody else. There will be no competition.
Andy Staples of On3, our guest this morning here at RKW. Andy, in the coaching carousel that has already started in the SEC, how well respected in coaching circles is the Texas A&M job, and what is the most important attribute you think they're looking for in their next head coach?
They would like someone who can win a national title.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I think we've already had that. If you ain't first,
Sure.
you're last.
Right.
What's the most respected thing about the job? They can pay a bajillion dollars, like $11 billion, and so they're going to make you ungodly rich. But they also have 100-something thousand seat stadium. They're near a lot of really good recruits. They will give you the resources you need to win. The weird thing about A&M, it's not even like there's not a real reasonable explanation for why Texas A&M hasn't been like LSU or like Texas or like Auburn or any of these other programs, because they have all these resources. They have everything that these other ones have. For whatever reason, they've just never been able to put it together and get themselves in national title contention. And I don't know if it's cursed. I have no idea, honestly, because you think about this. If you have that location near those good players, you have money, you have a super passionate fan base, really cool game day atmosphere, like all of that stuff, good school to recruit to, like, you should fall ass backward into a national title at some point over the past 40 years. I have no idea how it hasn't happened. So if you look at it from a coaching perspective, like, coaches don't think about curses. They don't think about stuff that can't be explained. They just look at the resources, the location, and they're going to go, yeah, I can win there. There's almost every coach in America goes, I can win there.
So, Andy, who is the best fit for that job of people who you think are reasonable fits? I know Dan Lanning has been discussed, and you get a lot of
Dan Lanning would be the best fit, but he doesn't want it.
Yeah,
He's staying at Oregon, and that's fine because he did the 2-question test to decide whether he's going to take the job or not. Right. And the 2-question test is this: is my job in the SEC the Big Ten? Well, yes, his job's in the Big Ten starting next year. Question 2: can I regularly finish in the top 3 of my league? And the answer for Oregon in the Big Ten is yes. Like, Oregon can be a playoff team most years in the Big Ten. You do not leave a job like that. You stay right there. They'll pay you plenty of money. Like, you don't go to a place that may not be able to be top 3 in the SEC most years. So that makes sense. I think Mike Elko is one that A&M probably will take a very serious look at. He's been there as the defensive coordinator, worked miracles at Duke, like 9 wins at Duke. And there wasn't anything fluky about what he's done at Duke. He's upgraded their roster, their talent. And that's the type of thing you got to do, because at A&M, you're capable of getting the kind of talent Georgia has, Alabama has, but then you got to be able to coach it. I think he can do it.
How much and how often, if he doesn't take a job this year, would Deion Sanders' name be brought up as far as a coach at a different destination other than Colorado?
It's going to get brought up, but I think this is not the year. I think next year would be the year. Because remember, all the people that he brought with him who were undergraduate transfers can't transfer somewhere else now. Like, they have to sit out a year if they transfer somewhere. Like, Travis Hunter can't come with him. So he's going to be at Colorado another year. Now, after next year, if they've done, let's say, because this year they've got 4 wins. They might beat Washington State on Friday. They're going to finish with 4 or 5 wins this year, which is a dramatic improvement over 1 last year. Let's say they go into the Big 12 and they're an 8-9 win team, and he has a good recruiting class this year. Everybody in the world is going to want Deion next year.
Yep.
Andy Staples joining us now. RKW, one more for me, Andy. So when it comes to teams changing conferences next year, who do you think is going to have the toughest time in terms of that transition?
I think UCLA.
Yep.
But they seem to be aware of that because, nobody was talking about Chip Kelly getting fired until about a week ago.
No.
And now it feels like he's definitely going to get fired. And that's them, I think, looking at their roster and going, well, we don't recruit the way you need to recruit to win in the Big Ten. Like, we've got to find somebody who can recruit better. And that's the issue. Because when you are playing against Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Oregon, Washington, USC, like, you've got to have players that can compete with those programs. They're going to have really good players. And then you've got Luke Fickle at Wisconsin. Like, he's going to upgrade that roster. And then the other thing is that people don't consider, like, even PJ Fleck at Minnesota, like, puts together a team that can beat your ass on the wrong day.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to be aware that if you don't seriously upgrade your talent, you could be looking at 3 and 6 in the league most years. And I think that's where they're at right now.
Andy, the Connor Stallions in Michigan fiasco is so fun for those of us that don't have a dog in the fight. What is the most expected resolution to all of this year, in your opinion? What do you feel like ends up happening with Jim Harbaugh? And do you think he's on the sideline for a playoff game this offseason or this postseason?
Well, yeah, because he's not suspended from those.
Right.
Like, so the only issue is he going to be suspended for the Maryland and Ohio State games? And they have a hearing on Friday, and we'll see what the judge says. I really have no idea. I mean, the assumption is it's in court in Ann Arbor, local judge. You're thinking you're getting the home team discount. But I don't know, like, I'm not sure that judge is going to view it that way because I don't think they want to be looked at as kind of being a tool for the university. So I imagine they're going to take the arguments very seriously that they get from the Big Ten and from Jim Harbaugh and Michigan. So I'm hesitant to handicap that, but the result of that will decide whether he coaches against Maryland and Ohio State. And then after that, that's the end of the suspension. So he's back for the Big Ten championship game, theoretically. And then whatever will happen next will be based on the NCAA investigation, which does tend to take a little time.
Yeah, I just love the all of the unknowns and all of just the fiasco of that. Not as big of
like, remember when he went to watch Judge Judy?
Right.
Like, he and his dad were in the Judge Judy audience.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Judge Judy, like, why don't they give this case to Judge Judy and put it on TV?
Perfect.
Please.
Big ratings.
And that's why I asked about the suspension of the playoffs too, right? Is because you just feel like there's no rhyme or reason to anything that could happen. Like, I could wake up from
something else could come out,
right?
And then they're like, "Oh, let's tack some on."
Exactly. Like, I could wake up from the daily, like, post-show nap after you do from a morning show and see a headline on my phone and be like, "Yeah, that's about right," and it could be anything. Andy,
Yeah.
like, it's still not as weird.
I would literally believe anything about it. Like, anything you told me about Connor Stallions, I would absolutely believe.
Was Connor Stallions the one that turned on Polar Express at halftime in the Arkansas-Auburn game, Andy?
Exactly. And listen, I don't know if they handled that situation correctly either, because the correct way to handle that is, like, listen, we've talked to the young man. We've explained that Polar Express is our creepiest Christmas movie. He's going to watch Elf during the FIU game.
Oh,
there we go.
Polar Express is really creepy.
It is really creepy.
So I was too old when it came out. I was not the target audience. And so I didn't see Polar Express until much later when my kids watched it. And I was like, what is this? They're like the voices don't match the mouths. Like, this is wrong.
Yeah, Andy, I was in the target audience, and I can also confirm that it was creepy for me too. Like, I'm just gonna go to bed, and some guy in a train's gonna pick me up in front of my house. Like, what? Yeah.
Like no wonder Arkansas got shelled by Auburn.
Well, will we also be asking ourselves this tomorrow after listening to Andre 3000 album, whatever it's going to be, Andy?
Goodness.
Is that
well? Listen, I have my Andre 3000 take has always been that Big Boy kept him tethered to earth, and Andre kept Big Boy from being just another, Benzes and Blunts rapper.
Yeah.
And so they were perfect for each other. I'm like, Andre can get weird if there's no big boy to ground him. That's the part I'm worried about.
Yep, same. And I'll text you about it. We'll have a conversation about it. Okay?
Andy Staples, our guest,
I'm
always
worried.
making us smarter about college football and everything else in the world here on the show. Andy, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Andy.
All right, there's Andy Staples with us.
I thought he was a cool dude. I will handle no Andre 3000 slander. I don't care if he's weird or not. He won the Flint Tropics championship. Kept them from getting sent away to the other league.
My goodness.
Sweet Brown, downtown Brown. What was his name?
Coming up, some praise for a Titans rookie from Pro Football Focus next at RKW.
Life is busy. We could all use some extra time in our day, which is exactly why Two Rivers Ford offers mobile service. We'll bring the service to your driveway at no additional charge. Oil changes, brakes, batteries, the certified technicians at Two Rivers will perform basic maintenance on your vehicle wherever you are, so you'll have more time for moments like this. Schedule your mobile service appointment by scanning the QR code or calling Two Rivers Ford today. Life is busy. We could all use some extra time in our day, which is exactly why Two Rivers Ford offers mobile service. We'll bring the service to your driveway at no additional charge. Oil changes, brakes, batteries, the certified technicians at Two Rivers will perform basic maintenance on your vehicle wherever you are, so you'll have more time for moments like this. Schedule your mobile service appointment by scanning the QR code or calling Two Rivers Ford today.
RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast for one final segment this morning before the Buck Rising Show takes over. Final call for phone calls, 615-737-1045. Ramon and Kayla are looking at me like I'm speaking a foreign language in here in the break.
You might have been.
Talking, I think we actually kind of were speaking foreign languages, trying to do the soccer immaculate grid this morning.
Yeah, I stopped listening to you. I did. I can admit that.
I'm glad you're doing that off air now, not on air like that one time.
That was so funny that one
was
time.
hilarious. Yeah, oh, my bad.
It was the best.
I vowed to never do that again, although I'm sure I have.
That was
already.
before Bert's days when.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was when Julius Schaefer was still hanging out with us.
Oh,
yeah, Jacory Schaefer.
JC.
I know Jacoby did a good job for us for a while.
Jamar.
What a guy, Jamarcus, definitely. Jaheim, I like that one for him.
Jaheim, that's very fitting.
Jaheim, very fitting.
Pro Football Focus has put out the top 15 highest graded rookies
How about
after week 10. Who's number one?
CJ
CJ Stroud.
Incorrect. Try again.
Nakua.
Incorrect again.
Oh, defensive?
Yes. With a wide margin too, a 90.6 grade.
Why am I blanking?
I don't know.
Defensive player in the NFC. Come on.
NFC? Defensive player in the NFC.
Cornerback for the Seattle Seahawks?
No. He's fourth, though, Devin Witherspoon. So you've
Yeah,
guessed
he's been
2,
good.
3, and 4 so far. Puka Nakua is 2.
Okay.
CJ Stroud is 3. Devin Witherspoon 4. Christian Gonzalez, corner for the Patriots, 5th, a bright spot.
Yeah.
Wow, and he's
For
been
them.
out since like week 7.
Yep. NFC East.
Oh, defensive tackle for the Eagles.
There you go.
Dadgummit.
Jalen Carter.
Jalen
There
Carter.
it is.
The guy that still probably should have been
Yep.
the number 1 pick or number 2
fell?
pick,
Philly got richer.
who is still, I mean, that guy.
He is.
Like a lot of us expected before we overthought the draft process like we often do.
You know you special when you come into the league and you are a rookie who's bodying NFL caliber linemen.
Sure.
He's bodying dudes.
That was a perfect place for him to go to. Really was.
One Titan on the list in the top 15,
Tajay.
Spears. 74 grade.
Which is good for PFF,
Yeah.
by
Very
the way.
good.
Because
Yeah.
sometimes you look at those numbers and you're like, a 74 is a high D. But in PFF, if you're even close, if you're sniffing the 90s, you are an elite player.
And I'll do you one better. He is the only running back in the top 15.
There you go.
Pro Football Focus has Tajay Spears as the best rookie running back in the National Football League right now, according to their grades.
Yesterday, Daniel Brunskill went out of his way to talk about Tajay Spears, and he literally said, I've never seen a guy just go out there and lay it out like he does in terms of blocking and laying his body on the. He is so impressed with that rookie.
Yep.
That rookie has gained so much respect, Tajay Spears has, in that locker room, just the way he does his business on the field.
Yep.
Popped
Yeah.
Devin White last week on a pass protection, man. And that's a big linebacker.
He also is just making guys miss in space, which very few Titans are doing with the football in their hands right now.
You know what I hate for Tajay, though, too, is we got to split hairs when it comes down to talking about him and talking about Derek.
Yeah.
That's the only gripe I have about Tajay. And that ain't even a bad one. I just hate us becoming a fan. Hey, you can't have both conversations.
So think about the other rookie running backs that were in this class that he's up against. Jameer Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, Zach Charbonnet, and he's outplaying all of them. So maybe we should lean back a little bit when we're like, why isn't Derek getting so many carries? It's because you got the highest rated running back that's a rookie.
Yeah. And
I strongly agree.
If Bijan don't step it up, this will probably be one of the last times we see a high first-round draft pick at running back.
Do you guys think it's Bijan? Not to steal Will's thunder. I knew you were about to say it.
Or Arthur.
You think it's Bijan or Arthur? I wonder if it's usage because last week they went back to it after he's been pelted with questions about it for weeks, and they gave him a workload, and they lost.
If you're a high first-round pick skill position player, don't expect Arthur Smith to use you very much. Kyle Pitts is in the same boat.
Drake London. It's been year after year. Every year it's like this.
I'm really surprised. I really
Concerning.
thought they would take that next step and be the class of the NFC South this year.
Me
I think they
too.
need a quarterback. If
that's
they got
fair.
a quarterback, we would probably not be discussing these issues.
And what I would give to have Kyle Pitts or Drake London on this football team here.
That'd be nice.
I'll also say sometimes guys are better off as captains and lieutenants instead of generals.
Capos.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Soldiers.
Atlanta's got pits and Tennessee's in the pits.
And they're stinky.
And that's the show. As Buck would say. He's up next. We're back at it tomorrow morning. Brent Hubbs, Mike Keith, you will be able to join us as well going into another big football weekend on the road for Titans and Vols. And Ramon Foster sends us home.
Hey, on this Friday, Junior, y'all must remember at all times, man, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.